Not the Ben Cote cast.
Not the Ben Cote.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
I mean, who wrote the song Nine Lives? Was that Def Leppard?
That was Aerosmith.
It was Aerosmith.
Yeah.
Well, no, I thought.
Nine Lives was an album by Aerosmith.
Right, I know that, but I thought there was also. I thought Def Leppard also wrote one called Nine
I'm
Lives.
not sure.
I don't think I'm not. Yeah.
It's hard to tell, honestly.
I have
Yeah.
a
All right.
former
So,
coworker that liked that album.
Didn't
So-
your friend like that record?
A little more specific.
Yeah.
No.
yeah. There's some software I gotta turn off on here because otherwise.
Oh, I can send a request to be in your live.
Oh, do it.
Should I do that?
Yeah, do it.
All right.
Do it.
Adam, Dave, you cannot drink your coffee.
All right. So now we go.
You gotta accept my request.
Oh, Steve, your photographer is watching.
Hey, Bert! Birdie!
Birdie Bert. What's up, Bert?
My man.
How's it going, bro?
Did you accept my request?
Yeah, I did.
I don't know how this
No,
works.
I totally rejected it because I don't want it on there.
He doesn't want to be associated with that.
I'm having fun already.
Okay, I've never done this before, so I'm not sure.
What do you mean? You've been on the radio a gajillion times.
Yeah, but I meant
But he's always the lead one.
So
I've
you know?
never done a
Yeah.
sharing the live
Which
stream.
leads
so I
us
wasn't
to a
sure.
larger problem.
Oh God.
I'm just gonna
Let's
go
just
live
get
on my
into
own.
it.
No, it's working.
Live
But-
intervention.
Are you sure you?
I hit accept on there. It should
It
be.
still
going.
says requested.
That's it. I don't. For everyone that doesn't like technology, please like and subscribe. Let me hit this. Accept.
Yeah, but you did that though, didn't you?
I thought.
There we
I
go.
saw
No,
you do
now,
that.
Now it's
there you
happening.
go.
Now
There
it
it
is.
That's
is.
weird. Yeah.
There it is.
The trains are
Accept.
rolling.
All right.
There it
As
is.
in Wolf.
Let's see if it,
Oh, look at that.
As in
I
Wolf.
gotta turn down the volume.
As in
Wolf
balls to the
Hoffman.
wall.
Not
Yes.
really Wolf Hoffman, but yeah.
Good too.
Yeah, yeah.
He was just on Coffee with Ola, Wolf Hoffman.
Yeah, he's great. I love Wolf
You have your
Hoffman.
volume on the phone. So this might be
Oops.
Look at that.
Again, everyone that doesn't like technology, please like and subscribe. All right.
Oh, look at that. We just got a whole bunch more viewers.
All right.
cool.
Nice.
Cool. All right. Okay. All right. So here we are going. Oh, good. Oh, good. And we got people on YouTube. This is great.
Awesome.
So,
Hell yeah.
42 viewers. Look at that.
hey.
Hey.
Awesome. Awkward silence.
What's
that?
That's
So,
okay.
but to answer your question before, so I grew up in Pennsylvania in Bucks County.
Oh, nice.
Oh, no
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah. I-
Cool, man.
Yeah, I was
That's southern.
born.
That's southern.
So
What? Yeah, kind of. I
No,
lived
no, no.
there from '93 when I was born until about '01. Me and both my brothers were born out there. It was funny though because I was born in Trenton because it's right by the border of New Jersey and PA. So
Yeah.
I was born there, and then we all moved to New Jersey around '01 because my dad worked in Manhattan for a number
nice.
of years, and my mom's originally from New Jersey.
Okay.
So moving there in '01 kind of just made more sense for his commute and all that. So we did that. We lived there. I lived there until 2015. And then, then got up here in 2015 for college. And then as the other two started to, as they entered Berkeley, they came up here.
Yeah,
And then here we all are.
Yeah, so now you're just migrating the whole family, huh?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah. The immediate family's up here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Extended family will come up and visit for stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. It was nuts though, like the time period I was in New Jersey though, because like you guys read this in the news, but I got to see it when Manhattan had that huge blackout in the mid 2000s.
Yeah, I remember that.
I mean, it hit us too.
Yeah.
It hit us too. So it was kind of nuts when that happened. And of course, everybody liked to say the reason for that was because there was a squirrel in Canada that was chewing at a power line, and then the whole eastern seaboard lost power.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
I hate it when that happens.
Squirrels, man.
Hashtag eliminate all squirrels.
Birds
So,
aren't real.
Remember that episode of Seinfeld where George runs over the squirrel and his girlfriend makes him like, remember? Yeah, we had a deal. Yeah, the pigeons.
Supposed to move.
yeah. Oh my God. So, all right. So anyway, just to because people are watching. First of all, guys, thanks for coming on and doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having
Thanks
us.
for having us, man.
We've been hanging out for the past 45 minutes, and I'm already having an absolute blast. So, yeah. And why are you canceling the cast?
Because I can't turn the volume off of this
You can't.
while I'm going live, so there was this delay. It was making me seasick.
All of the sadness in the world.
That's okay.
Can't you just get over it?
You know, I heard crying about it helps.
That's right.
Drink up, Shriners. So, so I've got the whole Ben Cote band on here with me. This is actually the largest podcast I've ever done. This is the most people I've had on at a time.
Wow.
So yeah.
We're honored.
Yeah.
We
Same,
truly
likewise.
are.
Yeah, the first one I did, I had my whole band on, but we're a 4-piece, including myself. So it wasn't as filled up as this. So this is
Now we
pretty
have
cool.
5.
5 guys.
Now we got five
Five
guys.
guys.
Yeah.
That's one more.
Burgers
You
and
know?
fries.
I'm allergic to nuts, so I can't do that. But
Yeah.
nice try though.
Almost got him.
Almost got him. Yeah. So all right. So I guess may as well go over a little bit of the backstory. So Ben and I mean, you guys probably all know the backstory anyway. But Ben and I met at school back in. We were both in Norm's class.
Yeah, this is
20
Fusion Ensemble.
Yeah.
Was it probably 2016? I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it was spring 2016. Yeah, we met in that. And then, of course, I remember I'm sitting there playing a couple Frank Zappa licks to myself, and he's like, "Oh, do you want to do this one?" And I'm sure the rest of the class was like, "Oh no, is he going to make us do this now?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, let's do it." But I mean, but in all honesty, everybody had fun with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What tune did you all play? Sorry to cut you off.
Oh no, we did the Black Page.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
very
wow.
cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that was and he had me do the lead on it, so I was just like, "Oh boy, okay, here we go."
Very honorific.
Yeah. Luckily though, I sort of knew how to play like a bastardized version of it when I was like 17 or 18, but my ears had developed a lot more by then, so I was like, "All right, let me figure out what's actually going on in here."
Yeah, yeah.
The trick with that one too is it wasn't even written for guitar.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, when Frank wrote it, it was originally a drum solo, a fully composed drum solo for Terry
That's right.
Bozzio. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and so then after a while, after Terry learned it, Frank was like, well, why don't I arrange this so the whole band can play it? So he took all the rhythms, put pitches to them. And so on the Live in New York record, you know, you have marimba playing the melody, you have keyboards playing the melody, and the guitar is basically just playing the chords behind it with the bass.
Okay.
Yeah, but guitar players, I don't think, and I could be wrong, didn't really start playing the melody on that piece until Dweezil started doing it when he formed the Zappa Play Zappa band. And then everyone and their mother, as far as like, you know, Zappa guitar heads tried to learn that thing on the guitar. And maybe people did before that. I could be wrong, but that was when I first became aware of that happening. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And the thing,
Nice.
and the interesting too, is there's 2 versions of it. There's the, there's what's called Black Page 1, the hard version, which is basically the entire drum solo and just notes put to it with, you know, a chord progression behind it. Then you have version number 2, which Frank calls the Easy Teenage New York version, where everything's like spread out, you know, stretched out over a backbeat. So some of those much harder rhythms are easier to play, except for the string of 11 tuplets at the end.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the
The very one. Yes.
Yeah. That was that makes you rethink how the fretboard is organized when you're trying to do that. Yeah. But yeah, so where was I? Oh yeah, so then we stayed in touch forever. I went and saw your band play a whole bunch of times.
Yep.
And then you know, we just kind of stayed in touch after graduation. You graduated like what, a couple years before me?
2018.
Yeah, okay. I was 2019, so yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Well, I finished in fall of 2018, but then hung around here and then graduated in actually walked spring of 19.
Okay.
Yeah. That was when JT was doing the ceremony, which was pretty damn cool.
I remember that because because
Yeah.
my first semester was summer 2019.
Oh, okay.
And I used to message you like, "Hey, dude,
right,
you know,
yeah.
is like, you know, is shred guitar like okay there? Like, do they like it there?" I remember I used to ask you little questions like that.
And I said 2 words, Joe Stump.
Mhm.
Yeah. So fun fact about Rob over here. So Rob and I actually have been communicating over the past 4 years, and we did meet up a couple times, but now it's just kind of like,
Like this is the guy, face to the name kind of thing, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, which is super awesome. So yeah, and so yeah, we stayed in touch over the years, and you know, I saw multiple iterations of your band, and now we're here with this, and yeah, and I got to play for it's funny, after all the years we've known each other, both our bands had never played together before until last month.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
there's no Rob though. He was in Texas.
Yeah.
I was going to say, when did you come on board? Right after that? Or?
So okay, the
Before
thing
that,
was,
Years
I
ago.
think
Yeah.
this July is
July
going to be a
2023.
whole on year. I joined. I remember, we text each other memes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then one day I get like an actual text that's not like a funny picture. And you said, "Hey man, can you come to my office? I want to discuss something non-Berkeley related." I said, "Okay, cool." So I walk
You're
over.
expelled.
Yeah, exactly right. Never mind.
It's it's non-Berkeley.
Yeah.
Never mind. We're revoking
There you
your
go.
degree. Never mind, sir.
Yeah.
Because he used to be my boss at the guitar department. I was a student employee.
I read that in your bio on his site.
Yeah, so he used to be my boss, so Mr. Ben over there.
Right.
So, I I did once and you shut it down, but
I had to take him in the bathroom, like, dude,
to beat the crap out of me, yeah.
in the game.
Don't you ever.
So then, I go over to the office, I'm just kind of like hanging out, whatever. And he's like, "Hey man, I'm really thinking about adding a second guitarist to the band this summer. We got a bunch of, couple of gigs coming up and it's going to be kind of fun, if you can find your way there, and if you feel okay with the opportunity, go ahead and show up if you're open to the idea." I said, "Yeah, sure. Why not? I got nothing going on." So I went over. I think we set up a time to like rehearse or whatever, and then we went over. And I remember at that point it was just like a White Stripes kind of duo thing where it was guitar and drums. And then I showed up, just kind of did the damage, learned all the tunes. It was like a whole set list, I think, right?
Yeah.
Essentially. Yeah. And that was it. And then our first gig, we got rained out. So we sound checked for Slaughter. And then after that, we played the side stage for Bret Michaels at the hazy little side stage right at the
Party Gras.
Oh, cool.
And we'll be back for this year's Party Gras.
Yeah, we will.
At in Merrimack, New Hampshire on August 31st.
Right.
Yep.
Bret Michaels. I forget who else is on the bill with him this year, but
yeah, this one.
The Ben Cote band is.
That's
definitely.
Awesome. No, that's great.
That's why you're all watching.
What more do you need?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Steve Wolf from
Journey.
Journey.
I don't think he's back though.
Oh, okay.
And Sugar Ray, I don't think is on the bill this year either.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But
one more reason to come. Right?
Yeah.
No. Sugar Ray, I love Sugar Ray.
Yeah.
I love you, Mark McGraw.
Sugar Ray was great. I used to like him.
Did he make and you guys are known for playing like I mean, you guys are obviously heavier than Springsteen, but like a Springsteen style set list, you guys will go for 4 hours. Did he make you learn 4 hours of material?
Well, I wouldn't
Not
say
at the
we're
beginning.
like Springsteen, but we play as long as he does.
Not at the beginning.
No, that's why I'm saying you're not. You're stylistically, you're not like him.
No,
but
not
set
at all.
length-
I try to
set
be as
length.
far away as I can.
Set
Hey,
length.
hey.
Set length.
So
That's
I remember he
Sorry for
shared
that.
with me right now with the days of Google Drive and everybody being able to access everything,
Yeah.
without having to, physically be in touch with something.
right.
He was like, "All right, cool. I'm going to share the set list with you." So he shared like, the initial gig set lists, and those were, for like about an hour and a half, I would say, give or take, right?
Right.
Total.
Yeah.
But then he was like, "Yeah, I'm just going to share the master set list," which was like probably, a whole day's worth of music. And yeah, I mean, that was, and it's all, the cool thing was that it was all stuff that I'm used to. I mean, me and Ben, actually, funnily enough, he's only like a month and a week older than I am. And I never knew that. So, quite specifically, yes, a month and a week older
It's
than
kind
me.
of weird that you are that specific about it.
Yeah, well, it's simple math. But so he,
It's a little
he's,
more complex
We're
than that. I
guitar
think.
players. We don't do math. Come on.
well, patterns, whatever.
That's his job. The drummer.
That's right.
Yeah, fixations
right.
on things. But
That's it. That's all you need to know. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so me and Ben grew up listening to the same things. Kind of had a similar upbringing. Basically, only children, right? The only child. Hanging out with our dads or our moms, listening to the same kind of music.
Yeah, I
And
hung
so-
out with his parents all the time.
So yeah, just hanging out with the Codys every weekend,
Yeah.
But
I grew up listening to a lot of the. I was homeschooled, so
Oh,
my
okay,
initial
yeah.
upbringing was a lot of the music my folks were listening to.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
And it wasn't until I was in my early 20s when I started forming bands with people my own age that I started to. I mean, I knew about 90s and 2000s stuff as well, but like I wasn't as aware of it as I could have been. But then once I started forming like modern metal bands with friends of mine, they were like, "Hey, you should check out so and so and so and so and so and
Yeah.
so." So that was kind of how I made myself a little bit more well-rounded after that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, yeah, I grew up listening to all the 70s, 60s rock, you know what I
Right.
mean? And then turns out, when I came to Berkeley,
Maybe
it was-
well-rounded is the wrong word. I meant I learned more. I should
yeah,
say.
yeah, for sure. You
Yeah.
got a little more exposed to things, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I remember when I started working under Ben, we used to talk about BC Rich guitars and 80s guitars,
Right.
and I brought a bunch of like 80s magazines, you know what I mean? And we used to thumb through them, so it was kind of like it was a cool kind of friendship that way, but it was also like it was still kind of like boss student employee kind of thing.
Right.
And then
Nothing weird.
nothing weird at all, right? And
the
then
fact that you said that just made it weird.
At
So
that,
now
at that time.
I can do damage control over here.
You're the one who had us on this podcast.
well,
You invited us.
I mean, this did happen, yes. But
so
still,
then I got a job at Berkeley, and then we became coworkers in that sense, and then that was it, and then it all went downhill from there.
right.
Then I joined the band,
Yeah,
and it was
exactly.
like, oh my god.
And now you're playing.
And he developed a real bad drinking problem.
Yeah, I know.
Oh come on, yeah,
These are all yours.
it's
Yeah.
because he doesn't give me any leads. You know what I mean? And that's really
He's got
what it's
one
about.
song.
His handle
one,
is
go one,
Guitar
go one.
Shred Rob. You're not going to give him leads.
Well,
He has to write on the set list Rob Solo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has to remind himself.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That he doesn't have
It's
all
always
of
a
them.
frowny
Writes it in the-
face.
Yeah,
Writes it in the,
Highlighted
the
in
tiniest
red.
fonts on the.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's
tiniest
like that.
font,
It's like that
Like,
one episode
do
of
I-
SpongeBob, where like Mr. Krabs has to zoom in.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
$1 refund or whatever.
I
I
believe that's
you
enough.
owe me
Yeah.
$2.
Yeah.
There's the
Yeah.
first SpongeBob reference of the day.
Oh, dude, I will
Podcast.
do. Don't get me started. I will do SpongeBob. I saw when that show aired.
Me
That-
too.
Really?
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was on Martha's Vineyard with my family actually.
I was in Texas.
Well,
There you go.
that's
you
the
know.
third time Martha's Vineyard's come up in conversation.
Very interesting.
Oh, what was
We
the
were-
first
well,
one?
we were
Did you guys
talking-
just
so
come
we-
from there.
No, actually, we were at O'Keefe's. So
See,
give him a
that's why
shout
it took
out.
us so long to get here.
Yeah,
Dude, the ferry took forever, man.
We were at O'Keefe's. We had a few
Sandwiches.
sandwiches,
Sandwiches.
and and we were talking about Jaws and how Rob's actually never seen Jaws. So
I'm
we're talking about how
I'm
Martha's
extremely
Vineyard-
uncultured. I'm from South Texas. All I did was play video games and guitar. So that was it.
Y'all need, dude. If you're gonna live in Massachusetts, you need to see Jaws. That is.
Yeah.
I say it's my third favorite movie of all time.
Oh, very good. Yeah, and that's
Very
when
specific.
people really started to
It's the
become
theme.
aware of. That's when people really became aware of Spielberg.
And
Yeah,
Sharks.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, and
Yeah.
sharks.
No,
And oh yeah, nobody knew anything about sharks after that. No, nobody knew anything about sharks after that. Yeah, that's why America's population increased after the movie because people started avoiding. Anyway, so
Hey, it's in the history books, you know.
it is in the history books, yeah. But yeah, I was on Martha's Vineyard when SpongeBob premiered, and it technically wasn't the pilot, but it was the first like double episode they did, the
Yeah,
bubble
yeah.
stand one and the Rip.
Well, I remember watching the pilot
Yeah.
with the Tiny Tim and the spatula and the
Right.
sardines or whatever.
Yeah.
I still remember May 31st, 1999.
Anchovies.
Yeah, anchovies.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
anchovies.
anchovies,
That's
yeah.
what it was.
They had the
A smelly smell. That smell is smelly.
The very one. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that. So yeah, it was a good time. I was like, I came home from like kindergarten. I was like, oh, like, I'm 6. What the hell am I gonna do today after
Right.
school? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was great. It was awesome.
Yeah. So
That's not true. Who's practicing his sweet picking?
Well,
Exactly.
I
At 6 years
was,
old, yeah.
but
At 6 years old, yeah.
yeah, Ingve,
Except it sounded like so. But anyway,
exactly.
Frankly, that was a little hurtful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna forget that, Max, but that's okay.
the difference is you were 6. You were just starting. That's
Right? Yeah,
That's the
that doesn't mean it's okay to
That was
insult my
day
technique.
one.
Max.
I'm head out.
Another SpongeBob reference.
I wasn't talking about your playing.
Well, it's because he can't sweep.
Yeah,
But I mean, if
there
we're
you
really gonna
There
go
we
down that
There we
road,
go.
all talk about Ben's
Yeah. Hey, we're all just busting each other's chops.
Why
There's
is Dave and
no
I the only ones
actual-
drinking?
Don't bring me into this. I got.
Come on. What number are you on?
Thought we were kind of. Bring me here, embarrass me for all these nice people.
No,
Oh, we're gonna have a nice.
I'm not gonna out drink Dave on this podcast.
His mother is listening right now.
She's probably deeper than him. Yeah.
Dave's mom, I'm very sorry. So,
Me too, mom.
oh my God.
Well, now's the time to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might as well.
right.
All right, we haven't heard from Adam.
I was just. How did you read my mind? I was just about to
I
say.
know, I'm talking too much. Yeah.
Dude,
think
yeah,
you should
say
say it.
something.
I think we all know what you want to say, Adam.
So how did you
Thank
get
you, Dave.
involved in all this chaos?
All right, so
We just went over this last night.
yeah, so I think 2 years ago now, it was finals week.
That's fine.
It was finals week at Berkeley. It was actually a week from that because I had a couple of drum labs. And I was coming back from one of them in the drum department, 1140, and I saw a flyer for the pink flyer and that said Ben Cote band drummer needed for summer dates. It was pink. It was bright pink. Little stood out. I noticed it. I'm like, wow, So
Okay, we need a little context for that. So
Oh,
in the
sorry,
guitar,
Ben hasn't been talking. For 10 seconds.
And I recognized the name from Instagram, and I was like, wow, this would be a really, really good opportunity if I could, if I could try and get in with this guy. So
Insta fame, you know.
I sent him an email, and then I heard back. I called in for like a little interview, and we talked. Talked about music and just very introductory type stuff. And a week later,
random, like the usual questions.
Yeah,
Like, what style of music do you play? How long have you been playing? How long can you hold your breath? Things
right,
like that.
exactly. Right.
Are you actually good?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So, and then he gave me like 11 tunes, and
Wow, you had it easier than him.
Oh yeah, bro. He gave me the whole everything from
9 hours of.
9 hours
Well,
of
you had it easier at first, and then what happened?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you were
we
really
just went over all this last night.
Yeah.
in the hot
Well,
seat. Yeah.
You guys did all the prep work, and now, yeah.
and then I got called to. Well, actually, the band got called to open up for Great White last minute, like not even a week after my audition. And originally, it wasn't even like hey, you're in the band. It was like, all right, first show's in July, and we'll call you whenever.
Right.
But that was a really cool opportunity.
Call you
because-
whenever.
Right.
That's very bad.
Okay, that's not what happened. We got the Great White opportunity, and I called up Adam. I said, all right, well, the gig's yours, but we're going to open up for Great White in like less than 24 hours. So if you want it, here we go. And he didn't even meet the bass player at the
That's right.
time until we walked on stage together.
Yeah, and that was the first like ensemble moment with the three of us. And until then, I was only used to barely used to just playing with Ben. Just the only time I ever did was for the audition. So in a live setting, frankly a large live setting like that with a big crowd, really energetic,
Right.
like the full rock and roll thing, like you had to just not think, just do it, all instinct, like just primal.
And it's interesting how so many people get into bands in that kind of scenario. I mean, Steve Vai's previous second guitar player, who he had for like 20 some odd years, he was at Musicians Institute.
What was his
And-
name? Steve Weiner?
Dave Weiner.
Dave Weiner,
Yeah.
something-
We got one part of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Close enough. I can remember that.
Well, Steve, and then
Yeah.
no, yeah, because Steve's manager at the time, yes, Ruta Cepetis was working there, and basically he just saw some positions were open. He got to talking with her, and after she found out he was a very competent guitar player, she said, Steve is looking for a guitar player. And he's like, I'd be interested. And she's like, all right, well, here's 3 hours worth of music. You got 2 days to learn it.
Yeah.
20 years later.
Right.
Yeah, there it is.
He
There we go.
recently retired from the band, but still very long time in there. Are you having a stroke or something?
Trying to get him to laugh.
That's okay. He does that. He does that,
I mean, how else are you going to keep yourselves entertained on the tour bus? So,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Well, when Rob's asleep, never mind.
Well,
Okay, well then. Yeah.
that's why I sleep face up.
Right, exactly, yes. Did I get this tattoo yesterday? Not voluntarily, but
I'm choking while I'm asleep.
yeah. Did you? Yeah. Did I get this tattoo? No.
Well, Rob, I appreciate you saying that.
Oh, this podcast is something else. I'm loving this.
What, guys can't have fun?
Hey, I didn't say there was anything wrong with this.
God forbid a man
There's not that there's anything wrong with that,
Speaking of Seinfeld.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So,
cultured bunch.
Xfinity Center. How did you get into the band?
Oh, what? So I met Ben.
We all have nicknames now.
Yeah, 2010. I was a freshman in high school.
Oh, okay.
So Ben was a year ahead of me and saw a poster. Same thing. It's all posters. So
Was it
Was it
pink?
pink?
pro
Was it
tip,
pink? Yeah.
It was pink.
physical advertising still works. That's how
Yeah.
half the band got in here. Yeah, it was like guitar club, auditorium, Friday.
Musicians Club.
Yeah. Okay. hey, it's your story. Tell
Get
me.
the details right.
Yeah. Big picture Eddie Van Halen. I'm like, oh, this is gonna suck.
I don't remember that. Really?
So I show
That's
up.
crazy. I don't
And
remember
it's
that.
like me. It's my buddy Brendan that we've also played with for years.
Yeah.
I've been in different bands with him.
About 2010, I can't remember.
Couple different people, and Ben walks in. He's got this guitar case. Sets his amp up and stuff, and opens the case, fires the cable into the guitar, and as it's coming out of the case, plays Eruption. And I'm just watching. I'm like, this kid fucking sucks.
Of course, yeah.
But we, right after, it was once a week. It turned into a de facto band. It just happened. We had a drummer, a couple guitar players.
The only people who fell for the trap, huh?
Yeah. Right. Had me, I was playing bass. We had another bass player, kid playing keyboard. So every week we started playing, and then from there it just slowly got condensed down to different bands. That
The cream always rises to the top.
That's how it works, right?
Yeah. But then so when I went to college, I went to UMass. Ben was going to MI at first, and then Berkeley. And he was a year ahead of me. Ben's older than me. We was all right, we'll go our own separate ways. And then I would always fill in for the Ben Cote band, if you had a bass player that couldn't make it, or if you were between bass players. And then finally, I think 2 years ago, I was like, hey, I can just do this full time until you want to fire me. And then
So it took 13 years for him to say yes, basically.
it was a long audition.
Yeah.
I think it took 13 years for me to say yes.
It kind of reminds me, again, your stories remind me of other famous musicians' processes. So I mentioned before, I'm a huge Frank Zappa fan. I'm also a huge Who fan. They're the reason I got into music in the first place. As you can see by that poster, the one in the hallway.
And that thing on the couch right there.
This thing on the couch right here. Yes. So
That's a blanket.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you, Captain Obvious. And the Who's Next box set over there, along with the Quadrophenia box.
Oh, no shit, that is the Quadrophenia
Oh,
box
cool.
set.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick though. Yeah.
Yeah, we can look at that a little bit, but yeah. But
Who got you into it?
my father,
Oh, who?
Ah.
But who got you into it?
Stephen Boris.
But who?
Can
No, the band The Who. Like who's on first? The Who.
Can you put him to sleep and then do what you were just talking about?
Oh, geez, Max, come on, man. Hey, man. Hey,
Wow, all right.
That's not this kind of
Well,
Boris stuff. Hey,
that's
man.
where we're gonna go.
I thought we were.
Hang on, we're gonna psych ourselves up for this one.
It's
Um,
a little violent. Oh my
Well,
god.
as George Carlin said, you need a little danger in your life. So
Well, that's why I joined this band.
there you go. Exactly. No. So what I was gonna say is, in the famous Kids Are All Right film, Ringo's interviewing Keith at a few points in there, and Ringo asks him, "How'd you get into this band in the first place?" And what you're talking about kind of reminds me of that. He basically says, "Well, this is 1976 when he's interviewing him. He goes, well, I've just been sitting in the past 15 years. They never actually told me I was part of the group. I knew it by instinct."
Yeah.
That's
That's
verbatim
funny.
what he
Yeah,
says.
Yeah.
But sometimes that happens. If your first jam or whatever goes really well, they're like, all right, come on this gig. If that goes really, really well, you don't always need to say, all right, you are officially in. No, it's just like, all right, cool. Next gig's next week. You available? Cool. Awesome. And then it just goes from there. Yeah.
That's pretty much all it was. I mean,
Yeah.
as a bass player, I mean, if you have a car and you show up relatively on time, I mean, you pretty much got
Relatively.
the job.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
It makes it easier to fire people that way.
Yeah.
He loves doing
Awkward
that.
silence.
He loves doing that. Yeah.
Ouch.
I come from a proud tradition of Ben Cote band bass players. I'm
It'll be what, like number
20,
13 and 48?
Wasn't one of your bass
20s
players also
right
your drummer at some point? You fired him as a bassist, but then you had him as a drummer,
No.
or
No,
vice versa.
No, it was a different thing.
Let's
Yeah.
not
Oh, okay.
name names,
Yeah, we're
please.
not gonna go there.
He named names.
Okay.
Remember that from Seinfeld too?
Yes.
Hey,
Yeah.
Was it just because I'm from?
Is that Mary and baby Jesus?
Yes, it is.
I like all the religious artifacts. I saw in the bathroom there's a bunch of the
candles.
the
I saw that.
novena candles.
I
like
am-
that.
Texas.
Well,
yeah.
I am Catholic, so yeah.
Oh,
so's half the
yeah,
band.
I knew there was a reason we were
Hence
getting
why over there too. Yeah.
The Godfather.
The Godfather.
No, not the Godfather.
Oh, the rosary beads.
Yeah.
I see.
Not the
I see.
Godfather. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's a
I
great
mean, they're
movie.
Italian.
Kills people.
But they're Italian Catholics. That's,
Which I am also Italian, so yeah.
So am I. Look at that.
Oh no way.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm half French, obviously, Cody,
Right.
but my grandmother was Italian, and I
Right.
live in
Okay.
Milford now, so
That's
that's
cool.
the Italian.
Yeah.
But
I'm Italian and Greek.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was Cote. Yeah, I really. Yeah.
there's a lot of things you don't know about me.
Oh, well,
What's your social security number?
we shall discuss after the podcast.
Oh, that is.
He gave that to me the other day
Oh really?
after
Begins
the
with a
bus
zero.
stop incident.
Is
Yeah,
that
the bus.
Is that why you have a Kramer coming in and all this other gear now?
That is exactly why.
How'd
yes.
you know that?
Because
What color am I thinking of?
what color are you thinking
Yeah.
of? Blue?
No.
Green?
That was the one though. It was blue,
Black.
Red.
green.
I was thinking of yellow.
What are the
Ah.
colors on this book?
There's a lot different.
I'm colorblind. I can't tell.
Really?
Yeah,
No, you're not.
actually, I'm really colorblind. Actually,
Really?
What color is your jacket?
I don't even know at this point.
It's
Oh.
blue.
Oh, well, I thought
I
it was
feel like
like
you're messing with us.
no. I really am
I
colorblind.
feel like this would have come out.
I swear to you, my life is like a Three Stooges short. where
What
everything's in black and
color
white.
is the cover of the Black Album?
I like a really, really, really charcoal gray.
What year was? What year was the War of 1812?
Oh man. Yeah. What color was the full eclipse a few weeks ago?
Yeah, well, that one just probably was the reason that I'm colorblind.
Well, you can't see what you're supposed to do is go up to where you can see the full eclipse, not just a half eclipse, and not look at it. You see.
Yeah, Eclipse
You
by
didn't put
Ingve.
this
Yeah,
in the audition notes with him. Why?
he just told me to show up with a guitar. He was like, "Hey, be here with a guitar." Yeah.
Okay.
Six
And then I had to
strings.
specify, show up with a guitar with humbuckers. There's a whole thing.
Well, and then I showed up with a 7-string, and then he fired me.
Ah!
And then I showed up with a 6-string, and he was like, "All right, fine."
Hey, I have 2 7 strings and an 8 string.
And we won't hold it against you.
Okay, great, thank you.
We don't do that here at the Ben Cote Band.
No, we don't do that here. No, not in my house. So, where was I going to go with this? Yeah. So obviously, you guys have fantastic chemistry, as we can see here. It's awesome.
We were biology
we call
majors.
this. We think this is positive.
We were biology majors, though, weren't we?
What?
Biology majors?
I was not.
Maybe with each other.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Ah.
No chemistry here.
Biology and chemistry are not the same thing.
Well, Ben taught me that.
How does that work?
I don't even know.
Well, it's like the other day, when Rob was like, "Hey Ben, nice guitar case," and Adam goes, "That's what she said." and Rob and I look at him like, "How does that work?" And he goes, "Yeah, I don't know."
Oh, nobody laughed at that.
Yeah.
Remember that?
You guys were dying. You guys were dying.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna get a laugh out of that. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we don't bring him out much.
He doesn't come out of the basement too often.
Yeah, just throw a piece of meat down there.
Pretty much.
So
Oh, yikes.
so I guess so you
Oh my god.
you guys need to come back on here. This is too much fun. We need to do this again, seriously.
Well, we got a long way to go.
I know, trust me. Okay, so now that we know the torture that Ben put you guys through to
Yep.
get here,
Oh god.
Yeah.
let's talk about working with him now.
Oh.
So actually, all right. So actually, here's something that a lot of people don't think about. When there's a band that the name of the band is the name of the band leader, i.e., Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, Pat Benatar,
Billy
Squire, all these guys. This person. When that happens, people tend to think that one person just writes all the music and says, "All right, learn this, end of story." Learn this, end of story. And then you show up.
No, I'm good.
You show up, and then they learn all the songs, and then that's it. And they just show up, and that's it. But at the same time, though, there are circumstances where, yes, it is the name, that person's name is the name on the marquee, but everybody, when they come into the rehearsal, will make suggestions, or maybe sometimes there's co-writes, or the putting together of the show is actually somewhat of a collaborative process. And it's not just the one person saying, this is what we're doing, end of story. I mean, there's both elements in scenarios, but I'm saying it's not one thing.
Right.
So I am just curious because, like in my bands, because my band's a similar thing. It's an instrumental, progressive rock, metal kind of deal.
Nice.
Yeah, my name's the name on the marquee, but if you look at our rehearsals, while I am directing them, everybody is giving some input on like, could we check this, or what if we did this as a transition from this song to this song? So my point is, I mean, this is a question for all of you, but let's just go around counterclockwise. So take me through a Ben Cote rehearsal and how this operates.
Well, there's a lot to unpack
Okay.
with this. So
Ben does everything and tells everyone wrong note.
kind of, yeah.
Not quite my
He writes the drum parts,
Yeah.
even in the covers.
Yep.
Yeah. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, so really the last time that I think I had a consistent lineup like this was probably like the 2016 era of the band.
Okay.
And then after that, it just, that wasn't working. Got to a point that I think was a little bit away from what my vision was. So, really, I'd say from like late 2017 to essentially, once I got this lineup, it really was almost more of, just Ben Cote and whoever was hired for that particular gig or that particular album.
Ben Cote and friends.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, and it was really just kind of, per gig, per album, and I really did all the writing, and but I think music and I guess art in general is really at its best when I think it's a collaboration. So now that I feel like we really have a really consistent, solid lineup, we're still kind of in the process of making it a little bit more of a band setting rather than, I mean, obviously, my name is on it. So at the end of the day, I want to make sure that, it represents what I want it to. But I mean, the new album that we have is going to be coming out in actually June 14th. It's going to be the next album.
That's the other thing I want to talk about.
Celluloid Babylon, which, I mean, there was some co-writing between, Dave and I, which, like Dave mentioned, we've been really playing together since high school. So, I think we write really well.
A couple of your songs say featuring Dave Mansfield on there.
Well, so that's the other thing too. I mean, they used to say featuring Dave Mansfield. But I think now, since he's really, until he quits, is a is part of this. So it's not really so much featuring because he is this, but
right.
But yeah, so and the majority of the album was recorded really before Rob joined. So I think going into the next venture will probably be a little bit more of a group effort,
right.
Rather than just completely solo.
Right. No, that does make a lot of sense. And another thing too is that because you guys all have everyone in this band has, I mean, you're all into rock and metal, obviously, but everyone in the band does have different tastes. And I'm just wondering, how has that influenced all y'all and your playing style? Because whenever I get with any person that plays in my band, it doesn't matter who it is, they're going to be into some stuff I may not be privy to, and then I'll start listening to those, and then that shows up in my playing, and then then that'll change my writing direction a little bit too. Having a keyboard player in my band, Joe Connect, introduced me to so many different things, and I've introduced him to a lot of things too, and the writing will go in a really interesting direction. So I'm just curious, with all the different stuff you guys bring to the table, how does that influence your writing, your performance, and maybe your interpretation of stuff?
I'll let everyone go around and say their part, but I think just what I've noticed is that I have something in common with each of them,
right?
That they might not have in common with each other. I know Rob and I definitely have the whole 80s thing going. I know Dave and I've kind of more the blues side of it.
The punk thing, I would say.
Yeah, I guess blues and punk. And then, Adam and I definitely, I wouldn't say I'm a prog guy, but I feel like there's definitely some overlap with a lot of that. And that's kind of.
Were you ever into Yes or any of those guys?
No, never.
Okay.
Yes? No.
Yes. I mean, you do look like Steve Howe circa 1973, so.
That's what it is. We were talking about
lucky guy Steve Howe is looking to sling me then.
That's really specific. Yeah,
you see it now?
Kind of had it, a little bit, but I was like, wait a minute, not as ugly, but
I think
no offense, Steve Howe.
I think you would dig his guitar playing if you check out their stuff.
I have nothing against them. I've never been able to emotionally connect with their music.
Right.
Yeah.
That's understandable.
But I think bringing Adam in was probably the most out of left field. No, I mean,
Music, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, look, growing up, it was all rock, like Foo Fighters, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and AC/DC and all that,
Yeah.
amongst many others. But then once I got into middle school, I found this record from Guthrie Govan. Oh, a solo record, and that's just
Erotic Cakes.
Yeah, that's
2006.
Which
right.
changed all of our lives.
Yeah,
Just
that's
a little
what
bit, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, me coming not from a harmonic
Except for
standpoint, as a rhythm, all rhythmic standpoint, not harmonic. That album still resonated with me.
Yeah.
I mean, got me into playing On Time, and then I became obsessed with that. So then I got into like the really sort of heavy proggy Animals as Leaders,
Right.
Skillet, some kind of stuff. And I just, for like, my God, like maybe 2.5 years straight, that's all I listened to, just stuff like that. And,
Right.
I just shedded it as much as I could.
Yeah.
And then coming back to rock after Taylor Hawkins died, who was
Yeah.
the biggest influence ever,
Right.
which is around the same time that I first got in touch with Ben.
Mhm.
It all kind of came full circle. That music amplified my rock feel. I got to open my ears up more. I got to connect more, not only with that music, but with the people who play it.
Yeah.
So to answer your other question about rehearsals, like
yeah.
that plays a huge role because I start to notice all the little idiosyncrasies that Ben does, that Dave does, and now that Rob does, and I kind of, okay, what can I do to complement them, but also like can kind of take things out there and bring them back in.
Right.
That circle around that sort of maybe proggy but rock.
I did notice that on the show we played together because that was my first time seeing you play in person, and I was watching what you're doing, and I'm like, this guy's definitely listening to like some modern prog. I could hear it in your fills and some of your phrasing as well.
Yeah, I mean Marco Miniman was like my second really big obsession after Taylor.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they're both very similar drummers. They like both in
Yeah.
terms of the energy they give, not necessarily rhythmic phrasing or output, but just in that same sort of spectrum. I mean, they both had. I mean, Queen was heavily. He was part of both of their lives.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say those guys. Those are two guys that like, even though people will tend to put them into a specific category, people tend to put Taylor Hawkins in just the rock category.
Right.
People put Marco in the prog fusion everything category. But those guys both loved. Like you said, Queen. They both loved Dream Theater. They both loved Rush.
yeah, that's right.
And so that fed into their playing in different ways.
Do you think Canadians ever get like an American nickel in their change, like we do Canadian nickels every once in a while?
Mostly.
Do you think they call this an American tuxedo?
Like, what do they call Canadian bacon up there?
Just bacon.
That's just ham.
Yeah.
So is our bacon American bacon?
That's bacon.
That makes sense
That's
to
just
me.
real bacon.
Yeah.
I wore a denim jacket to high school one time, and
Don't call them denim Dan.
no, we were not around yet. All the juniors called me Denim Dan for the rest of the time.
Denim Dan.
He's Denim Dan now. I'm passing on the name.
Oh hell yeah!
Nah, Rob's
you know?
cool.
Thank you, Dave.
Rob makes it work.
I'd say I'm Denim Dan.
I'd say that.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's you.
Another SpongeBob
Denim Dan,
reference,
that's
you
what
know,
we
another
call
one
you,
for the
dude.
day.
Dude, it's all downhill from here. So,
Hey, you know,
which one of you fellers is the real Denim Dan? He is.
yeah, exactly. You know,
Yeah. So, yeah. But to answer your question about Canada, I mean, that's a question for Getty and Alex.
Yeah.
Now, unless you have some contact with them, I mean,
And my last name is Cody, but no.
that has literally
French
nothing
Canadian
to do
Ben.
with- Yeah, that has literally nothing to do with Canada.
Actually,
Well, it's French. He's French Canadian.
You didn't say French Canadian. You just said French.
Friggin' Quebecois.
That's why he's so pale. Look at him. You know.
Oh, I thought you meant like
Rob
Paris.
says, it's charming.
I thought you
Yeah,
meant
a little
like,
bit.
I thought you meant like Paris, or
I got you.
I thought you were saying part of your family came from the Louvre or something.
Well, no, but the Codys immigrated to America by boat because they didn't realize Canada was connected by land.
Aha.
Of course, this was in 1998.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Very, very good. Very good.
Oh God, that's good.
That is very good. Yeah. And fun fact: are the three of y'all into the band Carnival?
No.
No, I never
a
heard
little
of
bit.
him. Yeah.
A little bit.
All right. Yeah.
Not a lot.
Of course.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Well, Your last name is the first. I told you this when we did guitar sessions. Your last name is the first song on their debut album.
Cody.
Really?
Yes.
Oh
actually.
wow.
It's a very good song.
Well, in French, Cody usually means like by the side of, or because a lot of times it's refers to like by the sea, and like Cote, because I know as far as I mean, if you trace my family heritage back far enough, you'll go back to France. But before that, the Codys were from Shediac, which is actually the lobster capital of the world.
What?
That's what I said. No, it's Shediac with a D. And yeah, then a lot of them were fishers and things like that.
Very nice.
Well, I'm gonna head out.
Anyway.
All right, see ya. Bye. Yeah, he's gonna go get some fish for dinner. So, all right, what are we doing now?
You're talking about the influences?
Yes.
And you finished with Adam?
Right. Yeah. So now,
Ingve, Lemmy,
very
move
good.
on.
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're missing the two moles though.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
are they under the beard?
give it time. No, but I mean, my influences, I mean, like we were talking earlier, I mean,
Yeah.
Ben and I have been playing music together for so long. At this point, there's so much music where when we go back and we look at it, it's like, oh yeah, you were the one that like showed me that album. It's
Right.
like, oh, and there's a lot of stuff that you carry into it on either end. Like, you know, Ben came in, you listen to like a lot of Dawkins and stuff like that. And that was
Right.
never really my bag. I listen to a lot of like, you know, 70s country music and stuff like that, like Waylon and
Right.
Willie and all that stuff.
Right.
And I think the most important part, you know, when you come into a band, especially part of the rhythm section, is you got to realize, okay, how much of this is going to translate, and
Right.
what do I really need to just keep out of this?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I mean that's him and I, because you know Adam, you know, mostly a prog rock drummer, and then like he started playing in a band with me, and I'm very much just like a, you know, I'm only giving you this much, man.
Right.
Like, I'm very bare bones bass player. It's
Right,
like, here's what it is.
Very
Like,
4-string basis.
yeah, but it's like
Or two, really.
yeah.
E and A, if we want to get technical.
5 strings grow up, but it's like, you know,
If
but
he's feeling good, the D string, maybe. You know?
yeah, but it's like,
Maybe.
So the Dave Mansfield signature bass.
It's a 2-string bass.
no, it'll be 3 frets and 1 string.
Doesn't even use those fucking frets anyway, you
And
know?
if it was up to Ben, it'd be no volume. No, no, but I mean, but any band you come into, it's
Yeah.
like, even like I've played with different drummers in Ben's bands. It's like every one, it's like it's a bit, all right, I got to play this differently. And then, you know, the most recent development has been having a second guitar player. It's
Right.
like you go back, it's like, Jesus, like here's a song we wrote 10 years ago, and I got to play it differently because now there's a rhythm guitar part. It's like I don't need to be like filling as much space and stuff.
Right.
So I mean, having Rob in, you know,
Yeah.
the last year, coming on 2 years now.
Yep.
Well, it'd be a year
Coming
this
up
summer.
on a year.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Feels like 2 years.
yeah, it feels like forever.
And is that the first time you've had a second guitarist in the band?
Ever.
or-
Yeah.
Wow.
Exclusively
So
power
your ego
trios.
finally went down, and you're able
Oh,
to-
shit. Fucking Max said it. I didn't fucking say it. Max said it.
That's what
Max
happens
said
when you
it.
get old.
You
You
were
know,
the
it happens with
chosen
age.
one. We were never going to be on this podcast again.
No. I want to have you guys back on as soon as possible. This is too much fun. Yeah, no, and I get that because, like, you know, even in my band too, we've got influences coming from all over the place. We're all into various different styles of music, though we do have that commonality of we like rock and metal. But also the other thing too, at least on my end, but this goes for everyone else in the band too, because I grew up listening to stuff my parents were into. You know, my folks went to college in the 80s. So when I was growing up, they were always listening to, their greatest hits 80s CDs. So you have Tears for Fears, Duran Duran, and all that stuff on there. And so like, and the thing too is that like, especially top 40 back in the 80s, like I'm not talking rock or any of that stuff. I'm just talking like top 40, like those bands. Those guys were good songwriters. Peter Gabriel is an incredible songwriter, obviously. Tears for Fears wrote great songs and stuff like that. And so then you start to hear elements of like what's going on in there. And then you're like, Depeche Mode's another favorite of mine.
Yeah.
I'll listen to their stuff and I'll be like, this is such good songwriting. And not only that, the sounds and the textures that they're using and the phrasing. And I'm like, okay, how can I pull that into what I'm doing and, not copy what they're doing, but pull some of that element into what I'm doing right now and then do something different.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about Pussifer and all those guys before. On their last,
We were in the bathroom.
yeah.
Well, not at the same time.
He was intentionally avoiding the conversation. No.
Rob and I were in the bathroom. We were racing.
There are children listening. Not really.
I went in the sink. It's fine.
Holy cool.
Shout out to Kristen Ulan is watching right now. Thank you, Kristen.
All right,
for
let's get this back on track. But
hanging-
yes,
Yeah, so then Pussifer and
your
then-
point.
Yes.
Benjamin, this is not your show.
Oh,
Listen, Robert.
There goes my one solo on the
this
fucking
is
set.
my house. So.
I guess we're cutting Paranoid. Is what it sounds
No.
like.
Yeah. No, but like, I mean, like this iteration of the band now,
Yeah.
like we're covering songs and like writing songs that 3 years ago never would have gotten anywhere near them, just because the differences and the influences coming into it and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's been like, I guess, like in one way or another, I've seen so many different iterations of this band. You know, with Ben, like
Right.
this one now, it's like wow, like what we're doing now is drastically different from
Right.
like anything that we would have touched.
Yeah, but that's kind of the beauty of it. It evolves, and that's the thing. We're always wanting to do new stuff.
Yeah.
You don't want to repeat yourself.
No.
So yeah, and I mean that's cool. Yeah, and speaking of that and writing and the influences, so let's talk about your new album. So like, how is this? First of all, when's it out for people to hear?
June 14th, Celluloid Babylon. Your new album.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
So
it is. Be on the lookout.
beautiful. So what's the backstory on this one? And how's it different from the previous?
I think this one has the strongest writing on it.
Right.
So up until this point, so the first album we have was just called Tight Jeans and Sunglasses, came out in 2016.
I remember that.
And that was recorded at Woolly Mammoth Sound, produced by David Minahan.
Yeah.
And that, listening back to that was really the band trying to find our way, really, as far as trying to develop our style very early. Never been in a recording studio before. I still didn't know how to write. So it was definitely very green in that aspect. Then Get Your Licks In came out.
Right.
I think that one was probably the strongest one so far. Also recorded at Woolly Mammoth Sound, produced by Dave Minahan. And then the next one after that was What the Doctor Ordered, which we recorded really in the middle of the pandemic, which was actually produced by the band, self-produced, really in my parents' basement.
Yeah.
And listening back to that, it's like I was starting to slowly figure it out, I think, as a writer, but as a producer, I mean, that album just sounds really thin, in my opinion, and I'm really not a fan of just how the recording quality is of that one.
Yeah, same.
And then it really is. I mean, it doesn't hold up, I think, as far as the sound quality, because all we had was a few SM57s and it's like anything else, you have to practice the production side of it and know what you're doing. And then last year's album, which actually came out on June 14th 2023.
Oh wow, nice.
So I'll talk about that in a minute, but that one was called Use It or Lose It, and that one was also self-produced by the band, and the production quality, I think, definitely was a lot better.
Right.
But the writing, in my opinion, I think it was kind of rushed, because during the pandemic is when my whole Instagram, thing kind of took off, and I started to really develop a fairly strong following there.
Right.
So I was just trying to get some music out, just to try to appease that. And so it was just definitely kind of thrown together, in my opinion. But I think this is kind of the culmination of, I think there's some really strong writing on it. I think the production is really great. Pete Evick, who is the guitar player for Brett Michaels, mixed 2 of the tracks on it for us, which I'm very grateful for. Professor Randy Ruse from Berkeley is actually mastering the album as we speak right now. So I'm really excited for that one. I think it's got strong writing, strong performances, strong production.
Got a couple special guests on this one.
We do have a couple. We have Dave, but he's not really a guest
Not
anymore.
that special.
I
I was referring to someone else.
I guess we've talked about it, so I guess I can announce it now. So Cherie Curry from the Runaways, who's become a dear friend of mine.
I think I did see you mention that before. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's on one track, and I'm really excited for that, because obviously I'm a huge Runaways fan. I've always been a huge Cherie Curry fan, but the fact that, like I said, she's become a real friend, and that's really, she's just an amazing person as well as a performer. But to get back to my comment on June 14th. So originally this album was going to be released on May 31st this year, but they got pushed back a little bit. Just, so I wanted to make sure the mixes and everything were where I felt they should be. But I'm a little superstitious, and I try to always release albums now on a date that someone important to me passed away, because
That's dark.
yeah, well, you know, and I'm trying to get real right now, because we released What the Doctor Ordered, which was our 2020 album, on October 6th, 2020. And we had that date planned
I know
out.
that day.
We had
I know
that
day.
date planned out months in advance, and it happened to be the day that Eddie Van Halen died. So
Wow.
it's always seemed to be a bad omen. Every time I released something, someone important to me would pass away. So I released.
Staying home that day.
Yeah. So I made sure to release Use It or Lose It back in 2023 on June 14th, because that's the day that my dog died.
Oh, wow.
Back in 2021, Ellie, a Chihuahua. So I was going to release this new album on May 31st, which is the day that my grandmother died back in 2022. It's just like, if someone always passes away when I release something, if I release it on a date that they already passed away, I feel like that kind of.
It's great for record sales.
Well, no, I feel like that will kind of counteract.
Even it out. Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's like counteract. Like, all right, someone already passed away on the stage, nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But like I said, there's, it got delayed a little bit because I wanted the mixes to be, where I thought they should be.
So
So I
no
figured
one
instead of
dies
being
this year,
May
yeah?
31st, I was hoping that this album would be Irish Twins with the last album and release two albums within 1 year. But now it's going to be two albums exactly 1 year apart.
So the first two were, quote unquote, in studio,
Yeah.
right? Like, what prompted you to just be like, you know what, I think I can handle this like in house?
Well, I think they're all in studio, because nowadays recording studios can be a laptop.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? But
But I guess
yeah,
like,
but I guess
the first two were not you.
yeah,
So
yeah.
with the third one, when were you finally like, you know what, I got this, like I can do it myself?
Well, I think nowadays, just as a musician, you have to take on so many different roles, just the way that the world is now. And I guess it's a testament to the opportunities that we have as technology progresses, which, you can always make a case for it being, the negative side of that too. But, I just thought it was the natural progression of saying, all right, well, I was able to figure this aspect of music out, as far as guitar playing. I'm still trying to figure out songwriting and singing, but and I guess I'm still trying to figure out guitar playing too. But it's like, trying to just be able to be as well-rounded as a musician and as an artist as you can. But I guess really just the reality of it too, you can't get around. It's just the cost of studio time. It's just.
But I mean, you also kind of studied that at Berkeley, right, under pro music, right?
yeah,
you kind of
yeah.
studied production as well. That was built into the degree.
And something that I'm very grateful for is I was recording those first two albums, Tight Jeans and Licks. I was still a student, so I always say that Dave Minahan was kind of like my other Berkeley professor. That wasn't, because I learned so much from him.
Mhm.
But it just kind of came to. It just felt like the right time to say, all right, this is awesome. I learned all this and had this opportunity. But financially and just artistically, it was like, all right, I think it's time to kind of make the jump and try to do it myself. And I think What the Doctor Ordered, I mean, 976, which I think is one of our more
Successful,
yeah, I guess successful songs. I think it's definitely a fan
That's one of the
favorite.
first songs that comes to mind when I think of the band. So
Yeah. So that was on that album, and actually, I guess
too.
I'll make an announcement here. So we're releasing a remixed, remastered version of 976 on, I believe it's May 16th, as well as
Nice.
we're re-releasing a remastered version of Get Your Licks In on May 7th.
nice.
Just as singles, just to have those out there. But other than that, as far as 976 being on What the Doctor Ordered, I feel like a lot of that album falls short on the production side of it. Nothing against, the performances by all the musicians were great. I think the songwriting, I would argue, was pretty strong as well. But it's just like that was that first album kind of taking the dive, and it's like everything else. You kind of take the dive,
Right.
Yeah.
then you kind of have to do a post-mortem and say, all right, this is what worked. This is something I have to figure out. And
Well, because you just had an album come. I mean, was that all you? Like, same thing. Was that all you doing all the tracks? and
Well,
everything?
speaking of that, yeah, I mean, so I just had a debut neoclassical metal record
I
come
saw
out.
that. Yeah, congrats on that.
Thank you.
give a shout out.
Um,
What's the title?
Okay, so it's called Rob Moore's Guitar Destruction.
Guitar Destruction.
Very-
Sunday.
very,
Destruction.
very much in the vein of Joe Stump and Yngwie Malmsteen, as you know, as you would
I didn't
imagine.
get that vibe at all.
Yeah, I mean,
Isn't that the same
I
thing,
don't
though?
know how you could tell, right? Yngwie
All
Malmsteen
right,
over
we're
here.
All right, show your background.
Right over
we were
here,
all
you
quiet
know?
during your thing, Ben.
You know? Yeah, my girlfriend's a little jealous of Yngwie, but it's fine. Yeah, I mean, the way that came about, I mean, you know, I started recording those songs also as a student. I mean, some of those songs were projects for classes. You know what I mean?
We've all done that. We've all had songs that were projects for classes. One of the songs on my first EP, Primal Electric, that's one of those songs was a class project.
Yeah, I mean, you know, going to a music school, you know, where they tell you, hey, write something. You know what I mean? This has got to have, you know, a flat 7 going to a 6 or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just like, all right, fine. You know, so that's kind of how that came about. Some of those tracks. And I just did it in my apartment. I remember it was summer, like summer 2021 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
I was just sitting in my apartment with no AC, you know, no window unit.
Yeah.
It was so hot, you know what I mean? And I was just sitting there. My Mac was overheating, and I was just recording tracks. You know what I mean? It was just all just coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure you know y'all as songwriters can relate to. You know.
Yeah.
And then fortunately, you know, I was able to get in contact with Lion Music, based out of Finland. And Lars Erik Mattsson, right, from Finland, was, you know, gracious enough to mix my record, master my record, and, you know, release it and promote it. And so, you know, it was just like sitting in my apartment. I remember I didn't even have a bass on the demos. I pitched my guitar down, you know, a whole step.
Hurtful.
And then when, well, you know,
It's not uncommon for people that don't own a bass.
yeah, I mean, you know,
You didn't know Xfinity Center yet.
oh, not yet. No, I wasn't cool enough to be in the Ben Cote band yet. So,
The album came out 3 weeks ago.
so, you know, and then I remember I went to my parents' house in Texas and I said, hey, you know, can you ship me this bass? And they shipped me my my uncle's 1981 Electra Phoenix from, you know, made in Japan.
Yeah.
Even better.
You know, so it was like, you know, the record was all basically just me sitting in my room, just kind of hammering away, you know, but all my best Joe Stump licks.
Yeah.
Joe Stump, if you're watching. Woo.
I think all three of us studied with him.
Oh yeah, at some point in time, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
We had the class together.
That's right.
Sorry, I'm not the man.
What is that, PTSD now? What?
No, it was great. Great time.
I took that class every semester,
Yeah.
twice when it was offered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
I had a great time in there.
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome, you know. But yeah, anyway, I mean, you know, it's just kind of like sitting in my room, hammering away at the riffs, you know, playing open E. No offense to you personally. When it came to the bass parts, you know,
Was that really necessary?
playing,
That's how I got here today, folks.
playing open E. You know?
0, 0, 0, 0.
0 frets. The neck is this long.
But yeah, I mean, you know, doing all that, and you know, my drummer Mac Hine, you know, was able to kind of fill in the parts, and then I sent it over to Lars Erik Mattsson, and he mixed it and made it sound real. I mean, to me anyway.
Yeah.
And that's just it. I mean, you know, sitting in the comfort of my own home, kind of like you said, where, you know, you recorded all your records in, you know, Boras Studios over here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's essentially it. I mean, and recently I was watching an interview with Ian Hill of Judas Priest.
Yeah.
And he said, you know, all the records on all the parts on the new record were recorded in hotel rooms.
Yeah.
On Logic or whatever, Pro Tools. You know what I mean? I mean,
Crazy, isn't it?
That's
It-
how so much of it is.
it's
done.
insane. I mean, I grew up listening to Judas Priest like it was, you know, the biggest thing in the universe.
Right.
And I mean, I still love Judas Priest, but it's like, you know, now it's like, wow, you know,
Or even then, British Steel was recorded in John Lennon's house.
exactly, you know,
Not a studio, in a house.
in a house.
Which is why on the song Metal Gods,
yeah,
at the end is them opening and closing the drawers.
yeah.
You
So-
need me to shut the window?
No, I just.
Image.
He's just being Ben Cote, you know,
I
it's
I
fine.
have focus issues. I'm sorry.
Okay, very nice. Talk to your therapist. So, anyway.
I do.
She cut him off, you know, it's fine.
Anyway. What happened?
I think Dave's up next.
Yes.
About
Anybody want a Reese's?
Your solo album.
Oh yes, let's talk about.
How many Reese's have you had?
I don't even know, dude.
That's a
I just,
lot.
you know,
a bit of a sweet tooth. there.
Yeah,
I love
wow.
Reese's. You know what I mean?
That's
That's
I don't know. It's like half the bag already.
That's
a lot.
intense.
yeah.
Well, I don't have a solo album yet, but
I'm ready to produce it when you're ready.
no, it's like, whenever Ben like really pisses me off, I go home and write a new song. I'm finally gonna do it. Like,
So you have like
today's-
5
Yeah,
records
yeah,
worth.
yeah.
Records out.
I have a bit of. I got an anthology ready to go.
Nice. When Ben decides he wants to listen to more country-oriented rock, then he'll
Yeah.
produce it.
Well, the nice part about that is like I do play outside of the band, as Rob does.
Yep.
I don't know if you do now, but I know you have before. Like, and I think that's a big part of it too. Like there's a stigma with some bands, like bands I've been in before, where like people hear that like a member has another group that they're in and they're like, oh, like what's that all about? Like, and it's like,
That's how the industry works.
yeah, it's how the industry works. And in a way, it's like, if you're, if there's stuff that you want to play, go play it. It's
Yeah.
like, don't just sit
Yeah.
there and be upset that you're not like in a band that's doing it. It's like what we
I-
do now, we all love it. Like we all have common ground with the music we're doing, but there's all stuff that we like that doesn't make sense in the
Within this content. Yeah,
of
exactly.
this
You know,
band. So it's like,
no.
if you want to go play country music or prog music or whatever else, it's like more power to you. Go do it.
Dude, I do so many things as a musician to make a living. I
Yeah.
have the Max Boris band. It was never called it that, but now everyone starts calling it that, so I'm fine with that. But I've got my solo project, which is instrumental progressive metal, that kind of stuff, using the good old 8-string Strandberg over there. But I
That's
also
illegal in this band. I'm sorry.
we're in Maxtonia right now. So
Oh, okay. That's right.
I think your guitar's missing a piece.
you know what else is missing a piece? So anyway,
Oh, wow.
Hey.
Wow. He left that purely up to your imagination.
I did, yes.
And yet somehow
could be
we all
anything.
thought about the same thing.
So yeah, I've got that project, but I also play in a wedding band. I was playing a wedding last night.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all top 40 stuff.
Who got married? Who got married?
Somebody.
You didn't even know? You should research that stuff.
I mean, I could find the wedding sheet, but it's nobody we know.
Well, let's not.
Why?
We're making this
Why?
a-
What do you propose we did if I knew the person?
I just feel like you should, know all the details of the gig.
Their names were Paycheck and Paycheck. Now,
There it is.
Wow.
so
That's really impersonal.
yes.
Yeah.
But so I did that.
Wow, we didn't mean to upset you.
It was his cousins that got married last night.
Wait, they were cousins to each other? Wait, what? wait.
Actually, wow, that I actually
Shout
didn't
out
mean
to the Jarvin boss. It's
so
gonna be very funny for me later.
Yeah. What was I? I do that. Basically, and I do a ton of freelance work. I do pit orchestra work too.
Yeah.
Whenever there's,
No, it's
I
like-
know a ton of music directors out
It's like,
here.
if you want to go play music, go play it.
Yeah.
It's like, don't be upset that the band that you're in is not doing exactly what you want to do.
Right.
It's like, make that band everything it can be,
Yeah.
and then just go do that outside of the group. It's like, yeah, it's because we've seen it before. It's like people get weird. It's like, oh, like you have another show with another group. It's like, yeah, there's plenty of shows to be played. Like
Right.
everybody's looking for bands to be here. It's like, it's fine.
There's a lot of people.
It doesn't mean that I'm leaving
Yeah.
this band. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
No, there's a lot of people that knew me as the prog metal guy, and it's like I don't just do that. When I would tell people that I do pit orchestra work, freelance pit orchestra work, they're like, "Wait, you're playing Mamma Mia? That's
Yeah.
not what you do." I'm like, "I know how to read music. I can play in that style. Why not?"
Yeah. Well, it's like I'll do like singer-songwriter shows. And like I did one
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago and somebody came up like, oh, they said like, you said you're playing at the PACC a couple weeks from now. I go, yeah. They're like, oh, we'll probably be there. I go, all right, great.
Yeah.
Just to give you a heads up, I am not going to sing at that show like I did here tonight.
Right.
It's like you're going to be in for a very rude surprise.
Exactly. But yeah, and no, that's the thing. It's all about what do we always talk about? Diversification of income.
Yeah.
In this, we all do so many different things. Okay. I have my own band. I do, again, pit orchestra work. I do weddings. I do all kinds of stuff. And people will send me stuff to play on. There's video editing. I do all types of stuff, and that's what makes this so much. That's what makes music more interesting.
Yeah,
is to have all those different styles, because I will get bored of one thing very, very, very easily. And I noticed Ben just got bored of me, and that's why he's walking away now.
You always do this.
The one time he let me play a solo,
He just walked away.
The one time he let me play a solo,
Hey, Robbie,
and then all of a sudden, he just left, and I was like, all right,
All right. Okay, so he's pulling the push door.
Copy and Rob, just like this whole last album. Well, that's cool.
Oh,
no, it's like none of us are getting rich off of this, right now.
Well,
But it's like,
that's why we all do so many different things.
Yeah, it's like take any opportunity that comes your way.
Yeah, exactly.
'Cause at the end of the day, it's like, if you're trying to pay your rent off of this, no one's giving you a hard time for taking any shit.
Yeah.
Trying to pay if you're trying to pay your rent, you're gonna live under the bridge. You know what I mean?
Exactly. No, I mean, people find it so weird when they look at, some songs I have to play for a gig. They're like, you're playing a Rihanna song. First of all, Rihanna is a good songwriter. Second of all, because that's what I was asked
That's
to play.
what people want to hear, and they're the ones paying
yeah.
me tonight. It's
Yeah.
like,
And then the other thing too is that, like, it's not like that style of music can only just be used for that one thing. If you do heavier stuff like I do, or like you guys do, you can people do this all the time. You can take a very, very pop top 40 song and make it heavy.
Yeah.
I did that.
You did that with Blue Dabba D, right?
Right.
I remember that from that song from when I was a kid. I used to love that. My half sister used to go pick me up from like the first grade or whatever.
Right.
And she had this 1981 Pontiac crappy car, but she had a decent functioning radio, and that song would come on, and I loved it. You know what I mean? And then I heard this, and I was like, holy shit! You could do that with a song.
And you want to know what's so funny too? I wasn't even thinking about the Eiffel 65 version. I got the inspiration because in the wedding band I play in, I also DJ. I play guitar and I DJ during breaks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Again, doing extra stuff as a musician.
Yeah. But you do like the announcements and everything, like in between.
I'm not the MC.
Okay.
But although if I am DJing, and especially if I'm doing an after party, I will make a jackass out of myself and say stuff to hype up the crowd.
That's awesome.
You have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what happened was in 21 or 22, whenever David Guetta and BB Rexa did their version of it, and it fucking exploded. Every single week, the request list would come in because I get those ahead of time before the gig. And that song was on there all the time. So I'd be loading it on here. And I'm finally, after like 6 weeks of spinning that song over and over, I'm like, this would do well to have some 8-string on it. Why don't I do my own version?
Yeah.
And there we go.
Yeah.
I did the same thing with, and you guys saw us do this when we played at the PACC. What is it? World in My Eyes by Depeche Mode did the same thing with their song.
Yep.
It's just, you learn how to do, don't hurt yourselves. You learn, or maybe not intentionally. Pull the push door. Yeah. Bass players. What are you going to do?
Whoa.
So,
whoa.
Yeah. So you learn all these other, styles of music, and then you can implement them for yourself. So what are the other styles of music you're playing, Mr. Drummer?
Wow. I mean,
besides Matt Garska
no.
and Alex Van Halen.
That's right. Oh, I love Alex. It changes a lot. I mean, in my own solo practice, Simon Phillips, his catalog, I love Simon. I mean, my top influences, Taylor, Marco, Simon, and Virgil Donati. Virgil's stuff is crazy. I love his writing.
Yes.
But actually,
I saw him at the Bonzo Bash.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I got into Tigran Amassian a lot.
Aha.
And Tigran, I started playing piano a lot, and Tigran very heavily influenced my harmonic output a little bit. And also his sort of obsession with like odd rhythms, which I really dived into, which I easily took to that because my ears have developed in a way that I can just, it sounds that type of complexity sounds very natural to me. So in terms of the music that I like to practice and play, which there's, oh God. Oops. Which there's a lot of, right now, I'm kind of more in the fusion realm right now, more than anything else. Okay. I'm getting a lot into like Dave Weckl, Vinnie Colaiuta, sort of the Chick Corea electric band stuff.
I saw the Electric Band back when he was still alive.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Nice.
like my first semester.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was at the was it the Orpheum? It was either the Orpheum or the Wang or one of those.
Yeah.
And it was
Wang.
yeah, yes indeed. It was it was the original line of the Electric Band.
With Gambale.
Yeah.
Yes.
Frank
Wow,
Gambale,
that's so cool.
And I saw Frank Gambale play, and I was just like, why do I play guitar? This is he's just played all. It was the same thing when I saw Vi and Satch, and I've seen them both a million times. But still, you see them both together, and it's just like, why do I play guitar?
Right.
Mhm.
I mean, but for me, I'm also just honing in on just my own phrasing.
Yes.
I'm not really playing the songs. I'm just paying attention to myself. I'm paying attention to what my output is. Starting to view my instrument less as a tool and more of like art,
Right.
but also respecting what I'm doing and why
Yeah.
I'm doing it. So there's a lot of drummers that I feel emphasize that more than others. I mean, Gergo Borlai,
Yes.
for instance, that I love. I just got into him recently. He's very much like that. I mean, he's very chameleon-esque.
Yeah.
You can put these guys in like metal situations and they're doing the metal thing. They can do the pocket thing. They can do anything.
Yeah.
Which goes back to what we were talking about. You can do multiple things.
Yeah. What do you think
Right.
of Eric Harley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, that's
I
another-
saw him with Dave Holland my second
Yeah.
semester.
There you go.
Amazing show.
Yeah.
With Chris Potter on sax, insane.
Yeah.
And let's go to the man himself. So what other stuff are you listening to, as you build your style more and more and more?
That's a good question. So like I said earlier, I think my influences obviously are a lot of 80s
Right.
players like Van Halen and
Right.
Warrant and Poison and things like that. But I definitely have a soft spot for a lot of the, I don't know if it's quite emo, but like the more like post-hardcore, like Escape the Fate,
Oh,
Falling
yeah,
Reverse,
yeah.
things like that. And
Early
like-
2000s, like
more like late aughts, like 2007,
okay, yeah.
Kind of like
2010.
pop punk stuff.
Not even quite that. Like Ronnie Radke. I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of him and his writing.
Right.
But honestly, lately I really I don't listen to a lot of music anymore.
You remind me of Tom Schultz.
Maybe it's a Boston thing. I don't know, but it's a
No, he actually doesn't listen.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I listen to a lot of like sports talk radio, and I feel like part of it is just when music becomes
Tom Brady doesn't play guitar.
No, but he'd be amazing if he did, I'm sure.
Oh God, here we go.
I love your
but-
touchdown, Tommy.
You said that to the Eagles fan in the room.
Yo,
That's
go
right. Yeah,
Birds.
so what's it like only having one Super Bowl ring? Anyway,
what's it like? What's it like knowing you cheated on several? Anyway,
All right.
I don't think
That's like knowing 19-1, bro.
Hashtag
It
deflate.
was
Gate.
18
Anyway,
It was 18-1.
18-1.
We lost the one that counted. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway,
Thanks for bringing that up. Appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a Giants fan. What am I gonna say?
Texas, you should be a Cowboys fan.
No,
But,
Cowboys. suck.
I'm okay. Thank you.
Yes, we can all agree.
Yeah.
But I think just when music becomes so much a part of your career, at least for me.
So
Yeah.
when you're writing, do you find that you can't listen to music? Otherwise, like when you sit down to write, it's all just like what you heard that day. 'Cause
That's
That's a
maybe
good
not
question.
quite that way, but I'd say maybe a form of that. It's definitely. I think it just burns me out, to be honest. A lot of times it gets to be non-inspirational,
Mm.
to listen to that. But yeah, I mean, I go in phases with it, and
Do you ever like throw on bands that maybe you haven't heard before to just try and see like what's going on here?
sometimes,
So
yeah,
I like to
yeah.
do that. I like to do that
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to try to counteract if you feel like a plateau in your practice regimen, or even just writer's block.
Like me personally, I've been listening to, because like I said, we saw Pussifer, Primus, and Perfect Circle recently. And so I basically, once I got tickets for them, I had already listened to those guys, but I wasn't listening to them all the time. So I started throwing their records on again and listening to them. And after listening to what, and this isn't to take away from the conversation, I'm just trying to add to what you're saying. After listening to Pussifer's last record, they took a completely different turn with their writing. They took a whole left turn. and basically bought this old 80s synthesizer called the Fairlight, which we've all actually heard on a lot of different 80s records, on all the Peter Gabriel records. Tears for Fears used it. You hear those sounds and you're like, oh, I recognize that. My point is that they took that old piece of technology and found those old sounds in there. They're presets that were stored in there that all these bands used. And then they manipulated them in a way and wrote songs around them. And you put Maynard and Karina Round's voice on top of that, and you have this whole new sound. Now that inspired me hearing that record. I'm like, this is very, very different stuff, especially from what they were doing. Yeah. And there's such cool sounds and textures, and listening to their phrasing and the development of like these themes, and then like and song structure too. So that got my brain, turning, and I'm like, okay. And so like now as I'm writing, I'm trying to implement stuff like that too. And that's why I'm saying I like to listen to stuff that I haven't heard for a bit, or Christopher's new album was new music for me.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, let me hear this. And that's got my brain turning in like a whole bunch of things. It's like, how can I try doing something similar to this, but also still have my sound on top of it? I guess that's what I was getting at with you.
Well, I don't know, maybe it's the beer talking, but for me, at least personally, as a writer, I think songs, like both lyrically and compositionally speaking, the music to me is more than just the audio. I think it's
of course,
it's the feeling, it's the aesthetic. I mean, everything from the album artwork, which I've kind of gotten into graphic design to do that stuff too. And it's really more of just kind of where the headspace is to try to put the listener in versus where my headspace is when I'm writing it. So.
And I'm not saying it's not that. I agree.
I'm just saying.
100%.
But even as a band, like we've had songs that we've played for 3-4 years. And they've consistently been in the set list, and then just like one day, it's like, man, it just feels like we're kind of just like going through the motions. Right. And it just like gets put on the shelf. It's like, let's try something else. It's like,
Well, and then I feel like, I don't mean to butt in, right, and to shine light on myself, but I mean, I feel like, these guys operating as a trio for so long, and Ben and Dave especially, I feel like adding a rhythm guitarist or a second guitarist.
Yeah, I don't like using the term rhythm. I feel like there's two guitar players.
Well,
in the
okay,
band,
I don't mean that as a slight in any way. I just mean adding a second guitarist to add texture and harmony. It's like now I really enjoy my role in the band. Shred guitar Rob, loves playing harmonic minor over everything, and whatever the fuck. But it's like, that's fun and that's fine. And I love doing that. Don't get me wrong, but I have an outlet for that too. Yeah. And I also love hard rock and heavy metal. And so it's like, I love my role. As a kid, when I first started playing, I was really into Malcolm Young and Rudolf Schenker.
Yeah.
And
likewise.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And
I saw both bands a bunch of times.
Yeah, I mean, AC/DC, Scorpions and the Alice Cooper band, the original early 70s Alice Cooper. Right. I was really into Glenn Buxton, who, the rhythm guitarist. Yes. I mean, I loved that, what I mean? And so I was learning all the rhythm guitar parts, the riffs. And so to be able to really bring, Ben's solos to light and to be able to support that as a band, as a whole. Yeah. I really enjoy that aspect. I mean, it's something, and you can attest to this as you're in a band as yourself. And you've been in bands before. It's like, it's fun to be part of like something that's greater than you. You know what I mean? It's like a whole. I mean, I'm a guitarist, and he asked me to play a solo. I'm gonna play as many notes as I can, and
But to be
whatever.
A part of the sum of the parts.
Exactly. To play for the song as we spoke on before, or to play the riffs. I mean, you can't deny that some riffs are just so badass. You just love to play them. Like when we play, Panama, or when we play 976 or Get Your Licks In, or Into the Sun. All these original songs, it's like, oh my God, this is so cool. Yeah. Like,
or a cliche example. Well, cliche, it's a great example. I've performed Night Train so many different ways.
Yeah.
Either doing Izzy's part or Slash's part. And both parts are fun to play.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like if I'm playing Izzy's part and the other guy doing Slash's part is up there doing, getting the spotlight at the end of the solo, I don't care that, maybe more people might be paying attention to him. The riff behind that is just so much fun to play.
Yeah.
Or if you're playing bass behind that song, that bass line is so much fun to play. I don't give a shit that it's one note.
Yeah.
You know, one note for
okay,
most of the
yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like
one note for most of the
Yeah,
song.
it's,
Well.
it's like, shout out Duff McKagan, our
Yeah.
Lord. But also, to Rob's point, playing in what was essentially
That one note is what holds that song together.
yeah, but
That's what I mean.
what Rob was saying, it's like we were basically in a power trio for the better part of, God help us, 10 years.
Yeah.
And like bringing a second guitar player into those songs that we wrote in 2010, 2011, they feel like new songs again all of a sudden. It's like there's so much more we can do with this.
Yeah.
It's like we can totally change all of our parts and around the same time bringing in a new drummer.
Right.
It's like just somebody
Yep,
who,
that's right.
just like two new sets of fresh eyes looking at these songs. Like
Yeah.
we had songs that we really hadn't done the last 5 or 6 years that we're kind of knocking the dust off of just because it's like, man, like we got a whole new way of looking at these now, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is like a new blood transfusion into the band. But I guess to get back to the original point of influences in writing, I think the point I was trying to make was that for me personally, I'm sure it's different for everyone, but it's like when I'm kind of in that cycle of writing for the new album, which I'm sure is going to be different this time now that we have this again a consistent
Quartet.
lineup that I really trust. I'm sure will definitely influence that. But for me, it's like I almost kind of I think it's probably subconsciously kind of stop listening to music so I don't burn myself out. But also too, it's because I feel like writing for me gets influenced by life.
Yes.
And so I don't really listen to the music, and I just kind of try to experience the things and around me. And I find that my most creative times are like in the dead of winter. I think it's because I'm just trying to get out of it.
Yeah.
So when you start getting burned out on music, is it podcasts? Is it audiobooks? Like, what do you start?
Not really anything in particular. I think it's more just me just
Just
sitting.
dead silence in the car, just white knuckling it.
yeah, exactly. But no, I think the whole musical side is just me playing. It's just because I really am a believer that if you just sit down, just
spend time with your instrument,
play long enough,
Yep.
you'll kind of get yourself into that realm where you just just start really just psychologically just starting just to experiment, just kind of get into this whole place that is you can't really get to unless you just sit down for a couple hours and just try to let it all go
and don't pay attention.
Yeah.
But have your phone rolling at all times.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
I don't have my phone rolling, but I always have it nearby, and then it's like, oh, it's like I got. And a lot of it too is if you have the right guitar plugged into the right amp, if you get a certain tone, certain sound, then that will influence, that'll inspire.
There's something to be said, like what you said though. It's like creativity. It's not a consistent thing.
Right.
Like you can go like a week without thinking about anything. It's like there's been times like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh yeah.
I'll think of like 2 lines to a verse and be like, I have to go write this down.
Yes.
Like, I need to get out of bed right now.
Yes.
Like right, and it's like so when you have it, whether it be your phone, writing it down, video, any way, just like record it. That way you have it because you are going to lose it. It's like if you don't get it on record.
And you know what? To your point, talking about how just being influenced by life can help facilitate songs, and this is kind of going off of what somebody commented on here. So my last album, Transhuman, even though most people probably don't.
Anybody?
I'm good, thank you. I'm actually allergic to nuts, but
oh Jesus! Oh wow! Should I not be doing this?
I mean, I don't care. Just wash your hands before you fist bump me. That's all.
Okay, that's all right.
Our bad.
All right. Yeah. So I'm sorry about that. I didn't know.
It's okay. You didn't ask. That's okay, sir.
Well. Yeah.
But what is it? That wasn't a dig. I'm just saying I didn't say anything. So what was it? Yeah. So my last album, not everybody knows this, but that album is actually a concept record. And what happened was while we were in the middle of the pandemic, I was noticing a lot of stuff popping up about AI, and that no, really.
Yeah. I know that whole fucking thing. Yeah.
That started to concern me a bit.
Yeah.
It's like I'm like I was seeing way too many developments in it, and I don't mean for the better. It seemed kind of like, what's going on here? Like
Terminator took place in 2029. It's 2024.
Don't remind me. So, and that's
4.5.
Yeah, and that's kind of what got the ball rolling on that album, actually. And that's a concept record, and it's actually telling a story, which I'm actually in the process of developing a stage show to help illustrate that even more.
Mhm.
But, and that brings up a point that someone on there brought up. What do you guys as musicians think about that? And are you concerned maybe that could at some point replace what we're doing? And I know this has been a discussion since the invention of the synthesizer, but now seeing where we're at, I mean, what do you guys think?
I mean, for me, it's going to be the same way it's always been. It's like, if you want to go listen to AI music, go listen to it. That's fine. I mean, right now, like, I follow a couple of Instagram pages where it's just a joke, but it's all like AI generated music and stuff.
You mean like SpongeBob singing Alice in Chains or whatever?
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or but it's like, it's pretty convincing, but it's like, you know, the people that want to go listen to that, I don't think we're ever our audience. It's never people that were going to go pay the money to go to a live show and support a local scene and stuff like that. It's like, I feel like there's always going to be people, because the one thing AI can't do is can't play live.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, the
you can
people
do a show with it, but it's all pre-recorded.
Yeah, it's like the people out there, it's like, God bless you. It's like, you know, wherever you are, if you support your local music scene, you're always going to continue to do that.
Right.
So no matter what happens, you know, you're always going to go out. Now, bands using AI to write music, that gets a lot trickier. And, you know, I don't want to wade into that because I don't want to hurt any feelings and stuff. But it's like, you know, I know there's the way we've been doing it for, you know, the last God knows how long. So it's the way we're going to continue to do it.
Right.
But, you know,
no, it's.
But in terms of like AI actually like just making a song with music and everything, it's like, if that's what you want to hear, you were never going to go see us play live anyways. So we weren't really worried about losing you, in the first place.
Well, and then I feel like, you know, sorry to cut you off, but like tacking onto that, it's like, you know, with all the invention of auto-tune.
Yeah.
And, you know, even as far back as you said the 1980s with, you know, Tears for Fears and all, like Gary Newman was one of the first guys to play a synthesizer. It's like, you know, I know this is just a video game, but even like Grand Theft Auto Vice City, when you would flip onto Wave 103, or the last station when you press 01 on the PS2, I remember that.
This before your time.
Well, but it was like the last station. It would say, you know,
Adam just turned 21.
We used to have this thing called the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, you know.
We used to have this thing called a compact. Okay.
Yeah.
There used to be a thing called Windows 95.
Remember the Rumble Pack where it would vibrate your controller? That was so cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I mean, like,
I heard that too.
There used to be a thing called a car stereo.
A Rumble Pack, that's what it was called, yeah.
Which brings me to my next
Rumboats. Rumboats, yeah. Yeah. Much like the chili, or what is it?
May 11th.
That's right. We're
We
playing
are
May
show-
11th.
Yeah, Off the Rails in Worcester, May 11th.
That's right. Yes.
Playing with our good friends Rumbo Chili.
Nice. That is a great band.
Yeah.
Are they
Right.
they're opening up, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
they're
they are.
opening up.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Rob.
Yeah, no, that's okay. But yeah, I mean, you all right there, Ben?
I'm good.
Reese's Pieces to cure your. Well, in case you want it, there it is.
Okay.
My
blood sugar.
But I
good
mean,
show.
you know, even tacking onto that, I mean, it's like AI is. I think. I mean, okay. Let me also back up a bit. My father's always been in technology. He used to teach technology. He taught, you know, software engineering and then like hardware. So it's like technology has always been in my life. It's been very prevalent. Again, being raised as basically an only child, video games were also always very prevalent because I didn't have anyone to hang out with. You know what I mean? They would just kind of be like, "All right, well, here's a new video game. Go get lost in your room." And so it was always kind of like, all right, you know, I'm just going to go play against a computer, against this and that.
Right.
So computers have always been like my friend. You know what I mean? Again, my father being a teacher about that, having a computer in the house always, having dial-up internet, you know, and then me getting onto Miniclip to play video games. And then, you know, my aunt would call over, you know, what did you eat for lunch today? Kind of stupid crap. You know what I mean? It's like, you shouldn't do that, aunt. I'm sorry. But, you know, I mean, it's like she doesn't have Michigan. It's fine. But I mean, it's like very annoying, you know, and so computers have always been very prevalent.
Ben's like, what kind of band have I just assembled, and what have I got myself into
This is
now?
probably-
I just like disassociated. Like
This is
30
probably
seconds
my
ago. What's going on?
last day in the band today, you know.
Sorry.
You're gonna show up at Off the Rails. They're gonna show up at Off the Rails. Be like, "Where's Rob?" We don't talk about Rob.
Shout out to Stephen Donald. He worked.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I'm gonna go live.
Birdie.
Birdie boy. We'll wait for Ben to go live to continue
Actually,
this
can
further
you accept
publication.
my live again? Oh god, there's gonna be a delay, but I'm just gonna.
You can turn it down. There's no way you
And
can't
it's
turn it
called
down.
it's called turning off the ball.
There's a-
Actually, you can't do that on Instagram.
I don't believe that.
I did.
I know a lot about Instagram.
Hey, you want to compare our Instagram?
Oh,
followers?
Mr. What?
Yeah, yeah. Do you want to do that? Yeah, we can do it if that's the way you want to go with this. I already sent you another request.
Okay.
No one could drink from the Martha's Vineyard.
There he goes, Mr. B.
God, I wish Eddie was still here. You couldn't tell me nothing.
If he was, you would not be famous.
That is fair.
That's probably true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So real. It's
That's kind of a hurtful way to say
probably
it.
the
but-
best-
Well, I didn't mean
probably
it
the
that way.
best
Well, it came
thing
out that
that's
way,
ever
so-
happened.
I'm sorry. I love you, Ben.
Yeah, and I love you too.
Aw. That's probably the beard talking.
I don't care for
Probably.
any of you.
It is for me. But I mean,
I
yeah.
wish you would be shy.
Yeah, well, it's okay. You
You're
know?
gonna word it edgewise around here.
Edge.
The man is married. Okay.
Well, you know.
Hey, Kelly.
How you?
No, he's talking about you.
Oh, he's talking to me.
You.
Yeah, nobody cares. I was married.
I mean, no, you've got the biggest wedding ring in the world right now, so we can
I
tell.
didn't want to bring it up, but hey.
Oh, is it on that? I thought that it was on this head.
You two have catch-up work to do on that. So anyway.
Wow, Max, that was a little out of line. That was out
So,
of
Rob,
line.
when are you gonna pop the
Excuse me.
question?
Well, you know, that is not for this Instagram.
No.
Live.
Sorry, Fox.
That's okay. If you don't even have Instagram, it's fine.
Who said
Yeah,
we were
she doesn't-
broadcasting on Fox?
I know.
This is on the internet.
Oh no, it's because I call my girlfriend Fox.
Oh,
It's because she. I think.
I
she-
actually didn't know you had a girlfriend anyway. So.
Oh, that's okay. You know, it's not like you were looking
that's a
anyway.
shot.
You wouldn't assume.
Well, it's not like you were looking.
Totally
you know,
fair.
kind of hang with.
How's
I
things
don't
going with
stalk
you?
anyone's Instagram.
That was the last 48 hours. Man.
Yeah, man.
Even the last 20.
Do you like
What
milk?
time is it?
Well, who doesn't? Everybody likes
Your milk's great. I
Excuse
love
me, you
milk.
just insulted everyone who's lactose intolerant.
I
Oh,
know.
wow. Are you lactose intolerant?
Follower
No.
count? No,
I will
Oh,
not
okay.
tolerate
No.
lactose.
no. I drink milk all the time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You know when milk gets like
I-
really.
Dude, I crush milk.
What's the word? Like,
Cheeseburgers are awesome.
What's
Like-
that to do with milk?
well, like when it gets expired, it's tubby milk, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what
It-
it's called.
It's really
Yeah.
tubby milky.
No,
You know
It's
what
like
I mean?
Tubby,
I don't think so.
It becomes
Underscore.
it becomes E. coli at that point.
Oh well, I don't that I don't know.
Go live
about.
on my Instagram. Just keep that in mind, please.
Oh,
Why are there ramifications on your Instagram now?
it's because he's very pro in lactose intolerance. So
There's,
you know we don't talk
there's
about
several. that
We
we'll
don't
need
talk
to deal
about-
with
okay.
tomorrow.
we don't
But
talk
for
about
right now,
dairy on this
everything's great.
channel.
Let's just keep having fun.
So anyway, yeah, I think with AI, you
Yes.
know what I mean? Like in terms of writing, I remember I asked ChatGPT, write me a neoclassical metal song in B minor.
Okay.
And it wrote me one.
That was on the new album.
Coincidentally, it was. You know, it was track number 7.
Ooh.
And so, you know, with that,
Number 7.
it even, you know, not that I'm like fixated on numbers or anything, but you know, it's like
Seventh son of a seventh son.
7 son. There it is. You know what I
Follow
mean?
your
You know what
shot.
I mean, right?
I saw that tour.
Yeah, that's a nice one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you know what I mean? It's like, you know, I think AI is useful from some sort of, you know, standpoint, but not like, oh my God, I'm gonna go, you know, like if you even want to give a stretch, like the band Gorillaz,
Yeah.
which my girlfriend Fox is very into.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yes. Yes. Yeah. So like
Yeah. Yeah.
you see, he always has to inject something. It's because his name is on the banner here. But
yeah.
I mean, like, you know, within all of that, it's like you can even say that that's almost an AI band. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's a bunch of dudes recording and then
Yeah.
presenting. But I mean, you're basically going to watch a movie. You know what I mean? If you're
Yeah.
really going to get technical about it.
Right.
You know, so I think AI has kind of always been around some sort, right? I mean, even with video games, all right? You played the Nintendo 64. You played GoldenEye 007 against the bots. You know what I mean?
I probably did. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you played against the AI.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you had it on easy, they were stupid.
Right.
And if you had it on hard, you know, they would kill you immediately.
What a video game guy you were.
Oh, yeah, big time. Yeah.
You need to meet my guitar player.
Well, there it is. You know what I
Isn't that
mean?
you?
What?
Isn't that you?
I have Joe Connect as well.
Oh, I thought you were.
Wait a minute. I know Joe.
You know Joe?
Yeah, he used to be in the
Joe's
metal lab.
yeah.
He has glasses, right?
Yes,
and
he
like a
does.
bandana. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
Joe. I know who he
Joe's
doesn't know
played
me.
bass in the Ben Cote band.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
he
I
doesn't know me, but I know him.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's how famous he is.
You didn't know he was. You didn't know he was in my band.
I did, but I was trying to make a joke that clearly didn't hit. When I'm like, oh, you're talking about yourself?
Yeah. Well, okay. So yeah.
No, I know Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool guy.
Yeah. He plays second guitar and keyboards in my band. He also co-wrote a couple songs on my album.
Nice.
Yeah.
And he knows Manuel Barbara, right?
Yeah. Manuel and I used to be in a band together. Yeah.
So I know Manuel also from. I took the metal lab just about every semester that I was at Berkeley.
I feel
So
like
he was
Joe
in there.
Stump talked about you. So
Joe Stump. I am basically
Don't
Joe
tell him
Stump's son.
Yeah.
No.
yeah,
That's gonna be.
I heard that.
Ah, well, I'm sorry.
I mean, it's not your fault. He did it.
Reese's fight.
Reese's fight. Over here, over there, everywhere. Anyway.
Not over here. This is the DMZ.
Oh yeah, North Korea.
Well, look how well
Very
that
bad.
worked out.
Speaking of Korea, I just got a new guitar. It's coming in from Korea.
Oh, what
Of the
is it?
South, of course.
Well, duh.
I'm gonna turn off my live in about 5 minutes. If this keeps going in the
Kim
direction-
Jong.
Sorry, you guys can't handle this. But
I mean, I can.
It's a very real issue. You know what I mean?
I mean, I can.
Oh god!
Oh my lord!
It says someone has to shut their phone off. The sound is bouncing.
Yeah,
it's bad.
that's what I've been discussing.
You should probably not.
No. Let Xfinity Center fix the thing.
Speaking of Xfinity, my Wi-Fi sucks ass. My Wi-Fi is always going out.
I think it's better.
Okay, there it is.
Is that better? Is
yeah,
the
I
sound
knew you
done
could
bouncing?
do it.
There he is. There he is. Bon Jovi himself.
It's still slightly there.
No, Steve Howe.
Steve. That's right. Steve Howe.
Okay.
1973. Steve Howe.
Enough of that.
Hey, don't be bad mouthing Steve Howe.
So, how do you feel that you ruin this podcast for all these other people?
You are the first person to have authority over Ben Cote ever since like age 18.
Well, I am older than I am older than him.
Well, that's
We're gonna
true.
take exception to that.
I am.
No,
older.
we all know who's
I
in
am
charge here.
Wait, am I?
We
Wait, hold on.
do.
How old is-
KC.
You, of course. Yeah.
Kansas City. You know,
Wait,
KC.
How old is everyone in here?
Old enough. to
I'm
party.
going to be 30 this year.
All right, I am 30.
Oh my God.
I'm
I'm
going to
sorry.
be 31.
Oh wow. When's your birthday?
August 20th.
Nice. My very first guitar teacher's birthday is August 20th.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. You're a Leo.
Wow.
I guess.
Yeah. That's what they say. You
That's
know?
what they
August
say.
31st,
No, 20th.
20th.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're Leo.
September 1st.
You're Virgo.
You're. Oh, I thought you were Ver.
Nope.
Oh no. No, never mind.
I'll
How's
be
that even
I'm
work?
28 this year,
Oh, okay.
When's your birthday?
March 9th.
Oh, nice.
Pisces.
Look at that.
Oh,
What about
the
you?
age of Pisces.
I'm going to be 22
Cool.
in June. I'm a Gemini.
Wow. Okay.
June what?
Ah,
So you don't
16?
spoken like a two-faced Gemini.
Yeah. so you don't remember Y2K.
Oh no,
No, he doesn't remember. He doesn't remember. You know,
he doesn't remember.
we all swore
Well,
to never forget.
No, I shouldn't say that.
There's a lot of things he don't remember.
So where were you on 9/11?
Preschool.
Which he doesn't remember.
20 minutes outside of Manhattan, actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
the danger zone.
It was. That was. No, I won't forget
We
that.
can do this. We're really gonna try to keep
There it is.
What I want to know is why Ben turned his live off again. This is really not the most offensive podcast in the world.
Because we're talking about age,
Not yet. Adam, do it.
and that seems to be a thing in high school.
It's just a word, bro.
everybody-
You know, it doesn't have a
Wait,
meaning.
wait,
And all I'm saying is I'm old enough to
Don't do
party.
that.
You give it the definition.
Definition
What?
of what?
Oh,
Country music.
of you, Ben.
Yeah.
The definition of me.
Which,
Yes.
speaking of which,
What's your? If I look you up in the Oxford Dictionary, what do we see?
I think I'm just a nice guy. I'm
just
trying
a
to be.
just a guy.
Oh
I
wow.
think it's just a guy doing his best.
I'll take it.
I think
At the
that's
very
correct.
least.
I'll take it.
At
Doing,
5'8".
doing what he thought was right at the time.
That's
At the time.
really all you can do.
Yeah,
in
pretty
life,
much.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
No, in your defense,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Also schizophrenic.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
yeah, 100%.
So
Maybe narcissism. I don't know.
So who's talking to you in your head right now, and how many people?
It's just me.
I don't want to kill all the people in this room.
Okay, just don't kill me.
Shout out to you.
Well, that's why that's why this is like the 7th iteration of the Ben Cote band because nobody else
There's
can just
7
be
personalities.
found, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Ben Cody's just a Kardashian for bass players. They all just go crazy.
Not just bass players.
You're not getting me.
Drummers, you know?
We're not going to go over this right
you
now
know,
live on the
he's-
air.
What's
He's
this
getting
voice saying to
better.
you?
Trump got him.
What's that voice?
Oh,
saying?
you gotta go.
Whoa.
All right, we're not going to go there.
He's getting better. He gave me a solo. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of cool.
He's
Yeah,
growing up.
but the thing is that voice that's talking to him right now is going to cut that solo.
But it's a
from the-
cover, so that's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just, like Dave said, I don't think there's enough room on Adam Spacehead to put the Rob Moore Band logo on. So.
There really is.
I don't know if I said that, but that's fine. That could have been me in your head.
Yeah, you know, now that you say it.
He is prone to that, you know?
Yeah. Wow, this is getting. Why is everyone being quiet?
This got dark.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
So how long have you been dealing with
So your
schizophrenia?
guitar doesn't
I
have a
don't actually have
headstock.
schizophrenia.
I
Yeah.
know.
I mean,
My first
wife thinks
girlfriend
I
does.
might, but
My first girlfriend does.
You want to talk about that?
yeah, let's.
Yeah, so
What's her name, first and last?
well, that I cannot.
Social
you know.
security, social
Street
security
address.
number,
All right,
PIN number.
let's at least say the first name. What's the first name?
I
So
hashtag
something that
controversy.
everybody
Nope,
has.
say the
We're-
first name.
We're gonna
Something
talk about
everybody
crazy
has.
ex-girlfriends. Didn't
Oh,
realize this.
Cell.
okay.
Didn't realize this was a 5-hour
Her first name was
podcast.
Cell, or is
Yes.
she in a cell now?
No, her name is Cell.
What's
But she's
what's
probably in
Cell
a cell
short
too.
for?
Shout out to yourself.
Celine.
Okay,
Dion.
No.
Oh,
this was back in Texas,
Yeah, back in Texas.
Laredo,
chaos.
Mid 2000s, yes, Laredo.
mid 2000s.
Celine
Mid-
Dion
2000s.
is not from Texas.
Mid 2010s, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Mid 2010s.
so you're in high school.
Yeah, I was in high school.
So Celine, what's up?
Well, she probably is not even
She might
allowed
be.
to touch a phone.
Oh.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, my wife can't
And-
have shoelaces. That's why I wear
Ladies and
cowboy
gentlemen,
boots,
thank
dude.
you for staying on this long.
Oh, my Lord. Well, I guess my
I
record's getting canceled.
think we just broke. I think not me. You guys just broke Ben. I'm the one keeping the peace.
Anyways, go ahead. That was great.
Yeah, she was a very nice girl. She just, I didn't, every time I went to go see her, I just didn't know who I was going to go see.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So
it's kind of like you were with multiple women, right? So
basically,
So,
yeah.
it's like there was a jar.
It's
They were
basically I was
shaking it up.
cheating on her with
Singles
herself.
coming out of the jar.
Yeah.
were you the lid? Trying just to keep
The
it all
lid.
in there.
the lid.
The lid. The lid. The lid. The lid.
Freeze!
That's the one. Yeah.
Almost there. Now put it on the lid.
You know,
Yes.
Adam, I just wish you'd quit yapping, dude. I can't get a word in edgewise.
And I
earlier.
just
Hey, Ben,
wish you'd
catch.
shut your big yapper. So
Heads up.
Hot potato.
Here we are talking about ex-girlfriends, and this guy's just quiet, dude. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah,
Well,
I think Adam has a lot
speaking
to
of
say on this
ex-girlfriends,
topic.
you
I
know?
don't think I have anything.
Let's
The
let's
Milky
just
Sea
rewind
has,
about
the Milky
36 hours.
Nope.
the Milky Sea has sailed,
Okay,
you know?
Whoa.
Whoa.
Wait.
Whoa.
let's not go there.
It's
So
4:47, by the way.
your point.
Just put it out
What, you
there.
gotta be at work tomorrow?
He did say yes.
I know he
Yeah.
does.
But he did say that we could go on as long as we want.
yeah, I
we could
mean,
do this
I'm-
till 11
No,
at night.
Well, actually,
But Matt, thank you so much for having us.
Oh,
is,
yeah.
is there a point you'd like us to get back to?
I mean-
I know we.
I don't know. Maybe we can go for another like 15, 20 minutes, maybe.
Okay.
What
Do you want to steer it toward any particular direction?
I don't know. I mean, I'm kind
team,
of just
teamwork in a band?
what up.
I think Max has
here
some.
we go.
Max
Yeah.
has some statistics he wants to share.
No, but teamwork in a band.
Actually, yeah. Well, I think we already saw that here so far.
Joke.
This is basically us supporting the Ben Cote band. I mean,
Right, pretty
we
much.
basically opened for him.
But actually, one thing I did want to.
admit it.
What did I? Okay, yeah. One thing I did actually want to ask.
Are there any questions or hurtful comments that we can answer?
Well, okay. Well, let me think about that.
So bad. You ever
Um,
played Retro Bowl?
yes.
have I ever played retro?
Would
Bowl?
you-
I have not. No.
I'm getting so sick.
We can do that when we get off of here. Actually, yeah, I did want to ask one question because like every single artist is trying to deal with this. Some people are fantastic at it. Some people are okay at it. Some people have no clue. The business end of things and the promotion.
Yes.
Now, everybody thinks that, not everybody, let me rephrase that. A lot of people think you can just gig out all the time, and people find out about you. That's true. But when it comes to actually setting up a show, actually promoting the show,
Edge.
paying everybody, and then getting other bands on the bill and making sure that like everyone in town comes out to it, some people are just lost.
Yeah.
And it isn't just posting about it on Instagram. So let's talk as he checks his Instagram. So can we talk a little bit about how you guys do this, and not just how you do it on your own, but how you guys work as a unit to promote a show and really get it out there, besides just posting on Instagram about it? Let's go around the horn.
Oh, wow. All right. It's coming right to me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
You're right here.
just going counterclockwise. So
Well, isn't that clockwise?
No.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, it's because I'm left-handed.
You hired him. Why?
Oh my Lord, Max! This is the first time I fucking met you. Oh my God! Next comment, I'm fucking throwing this in the coffee there.
Oh,
Jesus Christ!
the Reese's cup?
Oh, in my Reese's
That's
cup.
messed up.
Yeah. Next comment, I'm throwing this in the Reese's cup. Adam, please, you only played the drums.
Throwing down
Well,
the Reese's cup would be
Wait, talk
worse
to him
than
like
this.
that?
I missed it. Well, yeah. So Instagram, I think is definitely a big part of my career, and,
Oh, yeah?
and I think, also the band at this point, because of that. But I think to your point of really taking on the business end of it, it's just a necessity, and I think
finish the
every
six-pack.
artist needs to understand that there's the need to really be able to be a salesperson, because you have to sell yourself, sell the band, and just be organized. Really, what it comes down to is just being organized is the big thing. And I know my day job at Berklee College of Music really, I think, directly helped me be a better band leader. As far as now, we use Google Docs to have all the set lists.
Yeah, you send us
organized.
invites for all the fucking rehearsals.
Yeah,
What the hell is
I
that?
send,
It's like a meeting almost.
The Google Calendar for every rehearsal, every recording session.
Yeah.
For this, even just to try to stay organized, and it's just
Your notification about this podcast popped up in my Google Calendar as soon as we solidified it.
I probably put you on that as well. And it's just about being organized and being a good communicator.
Yeah.
And just being able to communicate to everyone in the band, be able to communicate to your audience, whatever means that is, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, whether it's physical flyers, and which really I think it encompasses all of that to an extent. But and then being able to communicate to other bands that are on the bill, and just try to look at something both artistically and I think realistically as all right, what bands would be a good fit to complement us on this bill,
Right.
that can also draw,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, the venue owners, they don't care what you sound like as long as you bring in people. It's a business, and you have to not be naive to that, and you have to be able to just really have thick skin to that and say, look, you're worth, understand what your worth is to different entities in this business.
Yes.
So whether that be like endorsements, with gear brands, what's your worth? Well, your worth is your following. So you have to be able to measure that worth, whether it's in Instagram followers or TikTok followers or live show dates. And then you have to have be able to measure your worth to venues to say, all right, well, when you say you're going to book us on a gig, we have to be able to produce and have as many people as we can. But then also have your worth as an artist too, which I think is separate from both of that, which is just being the best at your craft that you can be, as well as being able to produce the art that you're satisfied with. And I think that's a whole different discussion, because really that's something that you have to be satisfied with, because if you create music that your audience hates but you love, then you're screwed. But if you create music that your audience hates and you hate as an artist, then you're double screwed. So mathematically, I think I'd rather just be screwed once that way. But that's my.
But then there's the other tough thing about when you're first, for bands that are first starting out a project and they're trying to do, the music that they really want to do, but maybe another band isn't really doing that style of music. And then you have to figure out, how do I market this? And then you have to figure out, and the way you got to go about doing that is you got to find out who are the other bands that maybe I'm taking an influence from. What are their elements of what other band's elements are maybe in my music that I'm, not directly copying, but there's that influence. And then you got to find out who's their fan base and how do they receive their music. And then you got to figure out a way to market it to them. You see it, I've gotten to lecture at Berkeley a couple times. And when people ask about that kind of thing of, market research and figuring out how do you market yourself? I talked about how when I started the Max Boris Band and I was writing the first album, I'm like, how the hell am I going to market this? I've never written music like this before. Looked at some of the other bands that were kind of in the same sphere, saw what their Instagram looked like, their websites, what are their hashtags. And then I'm like, all right, let me try and implement some of that into my own thing. And then what happens there is, I think there's two spheres to it. There's the sphere you say, which is you write music for the audience that's out there, or if you're trying to do something that maybe isn't already appealing to those people, you try to find the people maybe it does appeal to, and how do you grab them in? You see what I mean? I'm saying there's two spheres to it.
Yeah, I'd say for bands starting out, I wouldn't even worry too much about that. In my experience, I'd say just do what you do.
Yeah.
And I think with all the different social media outlets now, the advantage to that is that it's so much easier to find your niche audience, however small that might be. Just do what you're doing and do that as well as you can, and just try to represent what you're doing in an honest way to yourself, and that eventually the other stuff will come. I think just try to be real with it, because I think the audience is a lot smarter than some artists like to give them credit for, and I think they can sniff out the not being authentic, as fast as anything. So
You're
just
right.
be
Well, and then
authentic
if I can add on to that, it's like, the stuff that we're playing is very influenced by Van Halen,
Right.
Def Leppard, all the stuff that our parents grew up with. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's like we're gonna play that kind of stuff, which is gonna inevitably appeal to people the age of our parents, right? But then also appeal to social media, where that kind of stuff is taking like a newfound kind of resurgence.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, one of the and to tack on to Ben's social media thing, it's like, I think all of us kind of want to be recognized at some point, right? But so you go to the grocery store, you're picking tomatoes. Holy shit, that's Max Boros. What the fuck are you doing buying tomatoes here?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, exactly.
but we kind of all dream of that, tomato seeds, tomato plants, whatever the hell you want to buy. But, it's like, yeah, but it's like,
Jimmy Page shops at Whole Foods, by the way.
yeah, there it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you couldn't stand someone any less.
Well, but my whole
Wow.
point,
Okay. I don't know why the Zeppelin hatred, but okay.
My name.
but then my whole point is, it's like, I study Ben's Instagram sometimes. It's like,
Oh, I was gonna gloss over that.
yeah, just
gonna go right over that.
I mean,
Why
whatever.
does your band hate Jimmy Page?
Well, Whole Foods is the first. No, I think he did his job in that band.
He played what he needed to play.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. That's all you can do.
I only know he shops at Whole Foods because his girlfriend said in an interview she saw him there. And I'm like, why is Jimmy Page shopping at Whole Foods?
Yeah.
Why is his girlfriend? Why didn't you just go with him instead of seeing him there?
She hadn't started dating him yet.
Oh,
Oh, that's where
she
she
was
met
still
him.
13.
okay.
Oh.
Okay, no, she's my age, but anyway.
Well, hey, it's a known fact that.
Okay, yes, we know that fact.
Which is another
We-
reason
we-
why
Okay,
That's all the
all
time we
I'm
have
not
for today.
condoning this. I just said I wasn't a big Jimmy Page fan.
No
so
wonder
I
the
think-
cover of Houses of the Holy is the way it is.
Yeah.
Well,
he dated a
anyways,
14-year-old, and I
so
think it's-
moving along.
To
very
Rob's
wrong.
point and Ben's point, as simple as it can be said.
Don't change the subject.
No, you stop
He's
talking.
going back to
Well,
the
I was just
subject.
saying, 80s aesthetic,
Yes.
applies to, people maybe like Adam's age,
Yeah.
and a little younger even. It's like TikTok, Instagram, they look to that. They grew up with parents, maybe our parents' age, listening to Def Leppard, Van Halen, watching the Wonder Years or whatever the hell. You know what I mean? And then it turns into like sort of like a familial thing. You know what I mean? Like we're now AC/DC, who was like, Back in Black, Highway to Hell, where it was evil.
Right.
Now it's like a charming old rock band kind of thing. It's like, oh, those cute little old men, jamming on stage. It's like, okay, we're back in the day. It was like,
Settle down a little bit.
it was like, holy shit, these guys want to go to hell and they want to die, whatever.
Kind of gods, but that's fine.
Yeah. Well, you know what I mean. But moving on to,
I commend your bravery. You said something very honest, very true, very courageous.
yes.
No, but it's like just.
So what, are you going to give him the Medal of Honor now? What are you doing?
Not yet.
Will you give him another solo?
We'll talk.
We're gonna talk.
Yeah.
That's a giant
Max,
no.
please stop. He's almost gonna give me a solo in one of the originals, so please. We're almost there. We're at negotiations.
Because Max keeps bringing it up.
We're at negotiations. Please, Max, just truncate the subject.
So how about that solo?
Drunk, that's the word.
Oh my God,
That's
Max!
gone. That's all on him.
Max,
That's
wow!
all on him.
I'm gonna have to talk to you behind the camera after this podcast.
It's my camera.
Well, whatever,
It's my camera.
By the way, folks, for those of you watching, we're all just busting each other's balls. No one actually hates each other, okay?
Not
Draining.
yet.
Not yet.
No, but
I don't know how
you
Dave.
stop talking.
Dave-
All right?
Dave and my
I've
goal-
had enough of
Our
you.
goal is to someday.
I don't hate anybody in here.
Our goal is to someday get successful enough that the only communication we'll have
Through
will be-
attorneys.
Yeah, through attorneys.
God willing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But the way to get there, as Ben and Rob have both said, is like just play what you like.
Yes.
It's like there's God knows how many billions of people like on this world. It's like just
What a transition back.
All the parts he writes for
fuck
you.
me for just getting back to the question
All the
that
parts-
the podcast host asked us. My bad.
The bass player is usually the most sane person in the band.
Oh,
It's because he only plays one fucking note the whole night. You know what I mean? It's because he plays one note. How many notes do you have in a whole set?
Whoa,
Three?
Three,
Fucking
four.
three notes.
Hey,
This is pick on Dave thing.
I played a B flat the other night, all right, and none of you even noticed.
He only has 2 strings on his signature bass. He's able to keep his brain clear. That's why he's the most clear-headed
no,
one.
I'm just holding the whole band together. It's fine. But,
Meanwhile,
like, the
you're
whole
playing
thing,
a 12-string guitar over here.
Well, only on one song.
That's still a song.
And he plays a fucking solo on it too.
Yeah,
Dude.
it was pretty cool.
This is coming from a guy that plays 8-string guitar.
No,
What are you
all I was
doing?
gonna say is like Jimmy Page is fine, Clapton's fine, it's all fine. It's great. Whatever you want to listen to, it's fine. It's like grow up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God. This is No, I agree. And I guess the final tack on this is we just talked about how to implement the business. How do you guys work together as a unit to implement the band's name and get it out there? Or is it just he does it all himself and tells you guys to shut up and do what he says?
Yeah, God
Well, he
willing,
likes to
yeah.
bring up the fact that he has 100,000 followers. So
That's
Well,
we don't.
99.6 last time I checked.
There he
Do
goes.
we want to do this?
So he likes to bring up that fact. But I mean,
It was all COVID. People were indoors. They had a lot of time.
yeah. Joking aside, I mean,
100,000 losers. So we
Wow.
have
Hey, I'm one of those followers.
well, joking aside, I mean,
Yeah.
we're all we all come from very different backgrounds. Again, my whole thing was, Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, and then Yngwie, So once I got into Yngwie, then I had 10 people less like me. You know what I mean? So then it was like, I think my niche sort of area or whatever is like all the neoclassical metal, kind of hard rock, heavy metal guys.
Right.
So some of those guys do like hard rock, they like some heavy metal stuff. And so whenever I talk about the band in that context, I think, I get some of the more hardcore shred guitar guys, and even some, I'm sure at some point you were into like Yngwie, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Taking Joe Stump. I mean, I'm sure you had to be into that.
I have a ton of respect for Yngwie, but I was more of a Steve Vai kind of dude.
Well, I mean,
But, yeah.
even within that, like guitar wizardry sort of shit,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And
Richie
it's-
Blackmore was a big one for me.
Yeah, and I mean, that's all of my area. So I think, promoting the Ben Cote band in that aspect, definitely gets the name out there within that kind of the annals of that realm.
Right.
And so, you know what I mean? I think I myself can bring that to the table.
Yes.
Dave, has the whole, new wave of British heavy metal. And that's kind of where we have the bridge between us. And then he has the more punk side of things, the country side of things.
Yeah.
So I think he brings that. And then Adam, with the whole no headstocks, way too many strings kind of bullshit.
That's my
And,
job.
no offense to you all personally.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just kidding.
No.
But I mean, Adam has a whole different, realm and window into the whole band. And I think that's where it's cool because we all bring it, bring our own individual identities into this like common love of hard rock, heavy metal, kind of thing.
And that's what makes every band special. All the greatest bands in the world had, again, going to Van Halen. Those guys had such a diverse background. One thing I think a lot of people overlook with Van Halen that made their music awesome, those guys were all into big band music.
Yep.
Those guys loved that stuff. Second time I saw Van Halen, Kool and the Gang was opening for them.
Yeah.
Now, you'd think if you don't know their history, what are they doing opening up for? Listen to Hot for Teacher. Listen to I'm the One, okay? It makes perfect sense. Dave and those guys were very, very into that stuff. You added that with the hard rock element and then, just how Eddie reinvented the guitar. Yeah, this whole new sound.
Yeah.
And anyone can get down and boogie to those songs.
Oh, yeah.
Not just guitar players.
Yeah, it was perfect, and they should have stopped right there.
Well, even their father, didn't he play, what is it?
He was a big band.
Clarinet on a couple of their songs.
That,
One of the Big Bad Bill is Sweet William now.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he was, and he was a working musician as well. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, I think in terms of like, it's like, classical music or, a lot of people kind of dish on cover bands. You know what I mean? It's like cover bands are just covering, bands that are well established, but it's like a classical musician today. Aren't they just cover musicians? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not writing their own music. They're fucking playing,
Unless you're a composer.
Beethoven or
Yeah.
Bach or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like they're all just, new age cover musicians. I mean, yeah, that's all it is, and
Unless you're like an actual composer.
well,
But,
yeah. I mean, but realistically, who's gonna hire them, right? But I mean, yeah, I mean,
commissions, yeah.
yeah, well,
Film
fuck.
scoring.
I was a performance major. What the fuck am I gonna say?
I don't know.
But you know what I mean. So it's like yeah. I mean, I just think with all of that, I mean, I think we can learn from anything. You know what I mean? I don't listen to guitarists without headstocks. But I mean, generally, if I were to listen to one of your songs, I'm sure I could be like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. And I'm sure I could pick up something that I never would have realized,
Well,
But I think to get back to the original question of how do we promote things.
now that we've alienated the entire audience, I think to really wrap things up.
There's still people on, I think.
I think
To
we have
the two of you,
we have two people watching. I
and
think one might be you.
We love you.
but,
Yeah.
To get back to that question of
You're
how
gonna
we
leave
promote.
before we wrap this up, dude.
All right.
And you're pulling the push door again.
See,
Everyone has
it's
done
a
that.
little. It's not as hard as it seems, is it?
Dude, pulling a push and then sitting back down is crazy.
It's
All
almost
right.
like not knowing. Your
I'm gonna take a
gene
piss on one of
size.
these cans.
All right. But yeah,
Just not on the table.
Sitting back down is nuts.
I mean, a lot of our promotion is definitely on Instagram. And I guess to get really just direct about it, we take advantage of the new collab feature on Instagram. So whenever we have, a show coming up or talking about trying to, announce any new albums or any new musical releases, a lot of times we'll try to do something like even just the other day, Rob and I posted, we have our next show is going to be May 11th.
Yeah.
At Off the Rails in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Like this podcast has gone off the rails, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
we'll see how it goes.
But
Got a
it's
great
like,
band opening up for us. It's going to be a really good time.
Right.
Yeah, May 11th, Off the Rails in Worcester.
yes.
That'll be cool, yeah.
Yeah, so Rob and I said like a little kind of Bill and Ted's kind of, little video thing that we filmed at one of the classrooms in Berkeley. Just
I saw it.
yeah, so it's just little things like that. And then I've also noticed too, Instagram seems to have a thing in the algorithm that whenever you post a flyer or a graphic with a bunch of writing in it,
Just a reminder.
they will purposely not push it out
Oh,
because they don't want you really, I guess, promoting things outside Instagram that can make you money. So what I do is I have the Ben Cote Band Instagram, which is separate than my Instagram, which I'll post any flyers we have for shows on that, because it's like at that point it's almost like a conduit for me to be able to share that to my story on mine. And then just post videos of mine, even though Dave likes to make fun of me doing the little talking videos, like, oh, hey, check it out. I'm Ben Cote Band's going to be at this. The reason I do that is because
the flyer won't be pushed.
Exactly. So
Right.
there's a method to my madness.
And you don't do anything on Bandcamp or Eventbrite or anything like that.
No.
It's just all
No,
Spotify,
it's all-
Apple Music.
Yep. I mean, all of our music's all on streaming or digital retailers such as iTunes and Apple Music. And then as far as a organized list of all of our venues, all of our tour dates, you can find that on Facebook. You can also find it just on bencoteband.com. We try to be as independent as we can. I found that's the best way to.
Question about two of those actually. So with Facebook, like, because I don't use Facebook anymore. Do you find though that Facebook's becoming an antiquated entity and people our age really aren't using it anymore? Personally,
yes and no.
Depends on the
Yeah.
crowd you're playing to, I guess.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I think that our generation and younger are definitely not on Facebook.
Right.
But that being said, there's still a lot of audience on Facebook. So I think it's a very good idea to still be active on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
And it's more work to try to post things on multiple different platforms,
Yeah.
but I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
And
What about the algorithm getting in the way on there? Because you could have 100,000 followers on Facebook famously, and if you put something out and you even do the promote feature, you're only going to hit 10% or 20% of the followers.
I never use the promote feature. I don't pay for anything. And I wouldn't worry too much about kind of the crossover of followers. So, I mean, Instagram, I have, the most amount of followers. TikTok's probably the second most. But I'd say just try to put it out there for whatever followers you can get. And with Facebook, the thing they should keep in mind is that a lot of it is local.
Yeah.
Right. And who's gonna come out to see your shows. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize. Like, 100,000 followers on Instagram, that's worldwide,
Yep.
So it's like, maybe 10 out of those 100,000, that's what,
Well,
like a 0.00% will actually come out and see you live.
I think the two things we found with Facebook is like creating events. That's where we actually get
Yep.
people. And then like in Facebook, we have like the Ben Cote Band Facebook page.
Right.
Then we have a Ben Cote Band like fan group.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
BCB
where
Nation.
Yeah, BCB Nation.
BCB
yeah.
Nation. Those are the people that consistently we see in the crowds.
All
like
right.
every so, and to Ben's point, that's probably 10% of like people that like the socials and stuff.
Right.
I'd say 0.001%.
Yeah, but those
Oh,
are the
wow.
people who are like every show
Yeah.
they're in the crowd.
But
So,
I mean, I'm saying the top tier of that.
Yeah,
I don't
that-
mean like little.
yeah.
I mean, that's the
Facebook's-
top 0.001%.
but like Facebook's great for like that gives those people a space for like, here's what we're doing. We got this coming up. Like we're gonna be here. Like so, it still has a use for that. But
Right.
like in terms of just like general like casting a net to everybody, yeah, it's kind of it's certainly back like gone the way of the dinosaur compared to like Instagram and other stuff like that.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's still cool because we still, can reach the people who are faithful to us.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's nice.
right, and but
You
also I guess the counter argument to that too, or should I say, the other side to that is that with Instagram, the thing that I see all the time on mine is that I have all these people always messaging saying, "Oh, come play, in Arkansas, come play, in
Seattle,
Nevada, in
yeah,
Seattle,"
I've seen that.
things
yeah.
like that.
Oh, must be
And
nice.
just nowadays, it's just not.
If you're going to
It's
pay
not
for
fun.
me to do
It's
that,
not
then-
financially
Yeah.
able. Like, and I tell them that it's like, we don't have a booking agent. We do everything in house, and it will cost us money to go on the road, and we just financially can't do that right now. And that's something that's, I think, really leveled the playing field with a lot of bands. I mean, unless if you're what I consider a legacy act now,
Yeah.
like the big like Bon Jovi, Guns N' Roses, things like. And I don't mean legacy act in a negative way,
No.
but they're the ones that have that.
The
Pave the
arena
way
acts.
for us,
Well, they're the ones that have that overhead to be able to afford to go out on the road.
Yeah.
We don't have that overhead, and so I try to counteract that a bit with just doing my live streams on Instagram at least once a week. I know lately it's been a lot less than that, just with other things in life going on. But just to try to still reach that fan base and still try to give them some sort of, performance. But
Right.
and I'd love to try to find to get this band on the road. We can't seem to even get to New York. But
I'll give you some names.
yeah, well, I guess I'll talk about it a little bit.
Well, I know we have a fan.
So
you know,
we're supposed to go down to Long Island.
I remember
But
that.
yeah, and I know there was a little bit of questioning around that because there was a little bit of mystery around that. But essentially, long story short, we were just being put in a bad situation by someone that basically wanted to get us out to Long Island and then tried to take advantage of us financially.
Story of the music industry.
Yeah, and then it was something
that never happened.
Yeah,
No,
but,
when does that ever happen?
I'm not trying to like throw shade at
A
anyone.
band got screwed over?
Yeah, wait a minute.
But we ended up having to cancel. We
5% of the door? Awesome.
Yeah,
We'll be there.
we were kind of forced into canceling that show,
Right.
and I feel like we did piss off some of our fan base. And I just want to try to set the story straight here. That we had every intention of trying to play that show, and unfortunately, it wasn't really our decision to cancel that.
and it's not like we're not trying. You know.
Yeah, and I think all four of us our goal is to try to be able to push the physical, geographical boundaries of this band and try to get us out of Massachusetts and try to really be able to see as many people on the road in person that support us online. And it's just us trying to figure out how to do that in a world that that way hasn't been paved yet.
Well, if you ever want to play in New York and New Jersey, let's put a bill together, both our bands. I know tons of people down there.
Let's do it. Let's do it right now.
We could definitely do that.
Yeah.
Book a show right now, Max.
Yeah.
My
Right now.
phone is doing the Instagram live right now.
Well,
we
we
got
have a
couple
tablet.
shows coming up in May.
I'm just kidding.
May
Yeah.
11th. Actually,
No,
we have
yeah.
2 shows in May.
Yeah.
May 11th, Off the Rails in Worcester, Massachusetts. A newer venue just opened up. Nashville theme is going to be awesome. The link is in my bio on Instagram to purchase tickets, or you can buy them at the door. May 25th, I think, what's that, 3 weeks after?
Yep.
We're going to
2
be
weeks.
playing 2 weeks after. Thank you. We're going to be playing at,
Exactly 2 weeks. I'm looking at the calendar right now.
look
Yep,
at that.
exactly.
We're going to be playing at Simple Man
Analog.
Yeah.
Simple Man Saloon in Clinton, Massachusetts, my
Woo.
former hometown. That was the first town I lived in with my wife after we got married. And actually, Dave and I played at Simple Man Saloon exactly a decade ago. We played there in 2014. Actually, over that because it was January 2014. This is going to be my first
11
time
years
back.
later.
We're going to
My
try
first time back
We'll
since
try
11
harder
3
this
months.
time. We'll see how we do.
I thought you were originally from Fitchburg.
I am, but
Oh.
I lived in Clinton for a year after. That was my first my first hometown as a married man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then June 15th, we'll be over at the Brew Yard.
June 15th, we're back at our
Residency.
yeah. I was trying to think of I guess it's kind of a homecoming show.
Brew
at-
Yard's always been good to us.
yeah. Massachusetts Brew Yard, June 15th. And then
July 12th.
should we announce July 12th at the PACC, Polish American Citizens Club in Gardner, Massachusetts. We're going to be playing the main stage there that other artists in the past, such as Stevie Ray Vaughan and Backman Turner Overdrive, played
And Blue Oyster Cult.
and Blue Oyster Cult played that stage as well. However, I think we should make the official announcement here
Okay.
that we will be recording a live album at that show.
Yes.
Oh, hell
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
You know?
Yes, that'll be July 12th.
And Adam will be playing with a drum shield.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Starts at 7.
No, he just won't be playing at all.
Oh,
We all back the
wow.
tracks.
He'll be playing. He'll be playing.
No, but please come out, be loud, scream, yell.
Yeah, if
do
you want to
whatever
be on a
wanna do.
record, you
Yeah,
know,
if you want to be on an
you'll
album,
be there.
come up on stage. We're not going to stop
We're
you.
not gonna. Yeah, we will.
Well, is it a live video and record, or just are we going to do the DVD record combo? What are we doing here?
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
What is a DVD?
Come on, you're
Oh, you
Oh,
mean
dub
live
video.
stream.
Dub
You mean live
Oh,
stream.
DVD.
Yeah, but no, if you
You're
come up
not
on
that
stage,
much younger than me. He
Come on.
is. He doesn't remember DVDs.
come up on stage,
Oh, I get
I'll
it.
stop you.
He doesn't even know what a MySpace is,
Well,
you know?
I think we should end this podcast. I think Adam should do a nice,
Just something.
just something.
We're
Just
from the
do-
heart.
Just do anything, you know, talk about how you love milk.
I mean, I like calcium. If that's what you're referring to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way to make that even weirder.
Adam is gonna tell us his social security number, his PIN number.
That's gonna be a hard
whoa.
cut.
Whoa.
What's your
Adam
mother?
hasn't said much. I think we should do a nice,
Yeah.
speech.
Nice sign off.
Speech.
What's
you
your
know?
mother's maiden name?
Yeah.
What was the name? What was the name of the street you grew up when you were a kid? Don't worry about it.
How much money you got? in the
Gander
bank?
Lane, yeah.
Did you grow up there?
Huh?
Well, actually, I was born in Albany, New York. Actually.
How
Oh,
am I
Albany,
not
okay.
know about you?
Yeah, I knew that.
that's
Yeah,
rough.
did you not know that?
All right, Adam, send
It's
us
the
off.
Ben Cote band. He only cares about himself. No.
Oh, whoa.
Tell me
Whoa.
something I don't know. All right, Adam.
Guys,
bro, we know that. Yeah.
Send us home, buddy.
Guys,
Break the camera.
This has been so much fun. Seriously,
Thanks
I
for
have
having
had
us,
an
man.
absolute
It's been
blast.
great.
Thank you for coming up and doing this. I've been wanting to do this for a bit, and this is really great. Hopefully, we can play together again soon.
Right.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
hope, you know?
Yep. Make sure.
We're gonna come to New Jersey.
Yeah,
All
we're
right.
going to do it,
New York.
broski.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I think after we sign off here, I think we should start discussing some details.
Yeah, we really should.
Okay. Okay then. All right. Cool. All right.
Okay.
Great.
Cool, we got-
So, all right. Great. So, everyone, make sure you check out the new album that comes out on.
June 14th.
14.
He doesn't even know his own release date. June 14th.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and make sure you catch them on all the dates. Check out the Instagram handle is what? Just Ben Cote Band
At the Ben Cote.
the Ben Cote Band.
at the Ben Cote Band.
Nope.
Wow,
At the Ben Cote.
At the Ben Cote. Thank you, Rob.
at the Ben Cote.
I don't
Very
think
good.
that's right.
Check out the. Wow, this is incredible.
Yeah, it's Ben Cote Band.
Ben Cote Band.
That's not. Go to at the Ben Cote. That's where all the magic happens.
You always do this. I knew you
wow.
were going to do
Ben
this.
Cote Band.
You know what? That's fine.
is
Thanks,
only
guys. This has
Ben-
been great.
Ben Cote Band on Instagram. We just use for our flyers for our shows. At the Ben Cote is all the real announcements and all that.
Yep. And as Dave was gonna say, you guys, I'm going home.
I can't take this anymore, dude. I thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, thank y'all.
Dude, thank you for doing
Thank
this.
you.
Cool.
Thank you.
You.
Thank you.
You.
Not
Thanks,
Rob.
man.
Not
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I forgot. Yeah. All right. Now I gotta turn all this crap off.
And on that note,
And on that note,
We're still live.
we're still live. Don't say anything controversial yet.
Wait, Adam, don't
Adam,
say that.
whoa.
Oh my God, Adam.
That was a mean